Chapter 703. 703 Open your dog eyes wide. Qi Jin Kong, the 7 clan elders, Shi Jin Tian, and the others all turned to look at Lu Ming. Lu Ming shook his head in his heart. He had helped the Red Leopard tribe, but the pure gold mountain had repeatedly stopped him. With his personality, he would have turned around and left long ago. The reason why he stayed was firstly because of Red Moon. Secondly, if he turned around and left now, he would definitely not be valued by the Red Leopard tribe. He wanted to use the Red Leopard tribe's power to find out where Xian Yanqing was. Since you want to see it, open your eyes wide and watch. Lu Ming's gaze swept across the pure gold mountain. Buzz! At the same time, a scarlet ring appeared above Lu Ming's head. There were 10 points on the ring that were as dazzling as the stars. 10 mind lamps. He lit up 10 mind lamps in the first stage. Qi Jin Kong, the 7 elders, and the others were all shocked. Some of the elders even shouted. The pure gold mountain's eyes almost popped out of their sockets. Its mouth was so wide that it could swallow a dead rat. It looked at Lu Ming in a daze. In the first stage, Lu Ming could actually light 10 mental lamps and enter the perfect stage. I told you. Lu Ming's talent is the best in the extraterrestrial world. After Qi Yu's initial shock, he laughed out loud. It's only the first stage. Maybe he's just lucky and obtained a powerful fire seed that allowed him to light up the 10 lamps in the first stage. It's not like there haven't been such cases in history, but the later stages, the harder it is to light up the lamps. I'll see how many lamps he can light in the later stages. Pure Gold Mountain said with a dark expression. Father is right. Qi Feng chimed in from the side. Oh really? Then open your dog eyes wide and take a good look. The corners of Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Then, a light flashed again above his head. This time, 2 rings appeared in succession, 1 orange and 1 yellow. The 2 rings were the same as the first one. They both had 10 bright spots that were dazzling and mesmerizing. Everyone was stunned. Their eyes widened in shock. The first 3 stages were all perfect, and he lit up 10 spirit lamps each. This was too shocking. Pure Gold Mountain's face was flushed red, while Qi Feng was dumbstruck. Didn't they want to see it? Then he would let him take a good look at Lu Ming. Continue watching. The sneer on Lu Ming's face grew wider. The next moment, 2 rings appeared above his head. There were 2 rings, 1 green and 1 cyan, and each had 10 bright spots. The 5 rings were stacked on top of each other, and the 50 bright spots almost blinded the pure Gold Mountain's eyes. Perfect, all perfect. All 5 stages are perfect. Oh my God, what did I just see? Miracle. Genius. He's the strongest genius I've ever seen. You, is right, he's the #1 genius in the outer realm. A few clan elders who were hundreds of years old could no longer control their emotions. They shouted one after another, their faces and ears red with excitement. Qi Yu's small mouth opened into an O shape as she stood there in a daze. After a while, her eyes were filled with a strange light. As for the pure Gold Mountain and the pure peak, they looked as if they had seen a ghost. They looked at Lu Ming, unable to say a single word, their lips trembling nonstop. 5 stages and 10 spirit lamps were lit. This was simply a legend. They had never heard of such a genius in their world. In fact, there was a rumor in this world that 9 was the limit and there was no way to be perfect. In other words, lighting up 9 spirit lamps was the limit. Perfection was only a legend after all. It was an expected realm, but now, it had actually appeared in a young man in his 20s. My current spiritual power should be enough, right? Lu Ming's gaze continued to fall on Pure Gold Mountain. The Pure Gold Mountain's expression changed, becoming extremely unsightly. He didn't say a single word, he couldn't open his mouth. Good. Brother Lu is indeed the #1 genius in outer space. I believe that Brother Lu will be able to break the seal. Qi Jin Kong laughed, his eyes filled with excitement. That's right. Little brother, please come forward and check those inscription arrays and see how you can crack them. A white-haired clan elder said in an extremely excited manner. Other than Qi Jinkong and Qi Feng, everyone looked at Lu Ming with anticipation. Perhaps Lu Ming could really do it. All right. Lu Ming nodded and walked forward. He came to the place full of runes and looked at it carefully. Dandan, can you really crack it? Lu Ming sent a voice transmission to Dandan. The seal here was made up of 3 completely different formations. There were more than 100 of them. The 3 different formations were linked and intertwined with each other. Furthermore, they were all extremely profound level 6 inscription formations. The patriarchs of the Sirius, Een Snake, and Blood Tiger tribes who had set up the formation were all peak level 6 inscriptionists. To be honest, with Lu Ming's current attainment in the Tao of inscriptions, it was still very difficult for him to crack it. The reason why he agreed was because Dandan had told him that it could break it. Nonsense, don't you know what kind of existence I am? The head of the top 10 war beasts, I have lived for countless years. I understand astronomy at the top and yin and yang at the bottom. How can a mere level 6 inscription array be difficult for me? Dandan began to boast again. Of course, she did it through voice transmission, so no one else could hear her. Lu Ming was already used to it. He directly ignored the part where Dandan boasted and said, "Oh, how can we break it?" Kid, listen up. We'll start with the 18 flame inscriptions, then the 7 explosion inscriptions. Dandan began to give pointers. Between Lu Ming's fingers, a green flame spread out and he began to inscribe in the air. Runes appeared one after another and flew into the ground at the entrance of the canyon in different directions. Everyone from the Red Leopard tribe stared with wide eyes. Oh! Suddenly, a wolf's howl could be heard. An array glowed and condensed into a giant wolf, which pounced at Lu Ming. Everyone's heart tightened, and the pure gold mountain's eyes brightened. However, Lu Ming's expression was calm as he allowed the giant wolf to pounce on him. When the giant wolf pounced in front of Lu Ming, it exploded with a bang, turned into spots of light and dissipated. The first formation was broken. The first formation is broken. It's really broken. Qi Jinkong and the 7 clan elders were all ecstatic. Father, Elder, look, I'm right. Lu Ming can definitely do it. Qi Yu said with a smile. Yes. But this seal is made up of 136 formations. The deeper you go, the harder it is to break. We'll have to see what happens later. Qi Jinkong said. At the same time, Lu Ming continued to inscribe runes. One after another, runes flew to the ground. After a while, a roar was heard and a blood-red giant tiger pounced out and then dissipated. The second formation was broken. Following that, Lu Ming's fingers did not stop. He continued to inscribe runes in the air. One after another, the major arrays were cracked by Lu Ming. Lu Ming broke through 18 large arrays in a row at a crushing speed. He took less than half an hour. Chapter 704. 704 cracking it one after another. Qi Jinkong and the others were getting more and more excited and expectant. Perhaps it would really work this time. May the heavens bless us, may the ancestors bless us. They prayed in their hearts. Perhaps the ancient ancestor didn't want their Red Leopard tribe to be exterminated, so he sent such a genius. The chosen one. At the same time, Qi Jinkong and a few other clan elders thought of this word and looked at each other. Their eyes were filled with excitement and anticipation. Who? At this moment, Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief. He sat cross-legged on the ground and closed his eyes. After breaking 18 formations, his spiritual power was not enough. He needed to recover. We'll guard this place. No one is allowed to leave. Qi Jinkong ordered. Just in case, they personally guarded this place. And at this moment, Pure Gold Mountain's expression became even gloomier, and his eyes flickered with a strange light. Qi Feng looked at Lu Ming with jealousy and nothing else. 3 hours later, Lu Ming got up and continued to crack the code. However, from here on, the array became more complicated and the difficulty increased. Lu Ming's speed also slowed down. This time, Lu Ming spent more than an hour to crack 18 arrays. He then sat down cross-legged and began to recover. A few hours later, Lu Ming stood up again with a smile on his face. He realized that breaking the array in this way could purify his mental energy fire. It could also be trained. He felt that he was getting closer and closer to becoming a rank 6 alchemist. Lu Ming continued to crack the code. However, the further he went, the slower his speed became. On the first day, Lu Ming deciphered a total of 50 inscription formations. On the second day, he deciphered a total of 30 inscription formations. On the third day, he deciphered a total of 20 inscription formations. There were a total of 136 of them, and now only 36 remained. However, Lu Ming stopped when he reached the last 36. After pondering for a moment, he walked towards Qi Jinkong. Tribe leader Qi, the next 36 inscription formations will be based on the Yin Snake tribe's formation. They are extremely vicious and unstable. If you are not careful, they will explode and destroy the valley. Lu Ming said. Qi Jinkong's expression changed and he said anxiously, "Then what do we do?" "That's easy. Lu Ming needs a favor from clan leader Qi." Lu Ming said. "Brother Lu, please speak. Even if we have to mobilize the entire Red Leopard tribe, it won't be a problem." Qi Jinkong's tone was firm. "It's not that serious. I just need some materials. I have a material here called red blood sand. I need the clan leader to send someone to refine it." A jade card appeared in Lu Ming's hand. It contained the refining method of the crimson blood sand and the required materials. He handed it to Qi Jinkong. "No problem, but I'm afraid it'll take 6 or 7 days to make it." Qi Jinkong looked at it and said, "It's fine. Tribe leader Qi, where are the places where venomous snakes gather? I'm going to hunt some myself and take their blood essence to refine another material. Only by combining these two materials can we break the last 36 formations." Lu Ming said, "A place where venomous snakes gather? To the west of the Red Leopard tribe, there is a 10,000 snakes valley. There are a large number of poisonous snakes there, but it is already in the territory of the Yin Snake tribe." Qi Jinkong said, "It's fine. I just need to sneak over and kill some poisonous snakes." Lu Ming smiled faintly. "That's good. Little brother Lu has been working hard these few days. A few days is not a big deal for you to break the formation. Go to the Red Leopard tribe and rest for a while before preparing the materials." Although the pure gold space was anxious and excited, it was polite to Lu Ming. Lu Ming was the hope of the Red Leopard tribe. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. Qi Jinkong left behind a few clan elders to guard the place while he and the remaining clan elders brought Lu Ming and Qi Yu to the Red Leopard tribe. "Lu Ming, you haven't been to our tribe before, have you? I'll take you around. What is it like in the outer world? Your skin is so white and smooth. Also, the clothes you're wearing are so strange." Along the way, Qi Yu followed Lu Ming and chattered on, asking a lot of questions. Lu Ming smiled bitterly. He could not help but think of a young girl, Xian Exen. At that time, Xian Exen was also very curious and kept asking questions. Lu Ming casually explained and they arrived at the ancient city very soon. This was a stone city, and the buildings inside were all made of stone. The stone city was bustling with people. It was completely different from the cities that Lu Ming had seen in the past. It was filled with an exotic atmosphere. When they arrived, Lu Ming suddenly had an idea. He asked, "Tribe leader Qi, during this period of time, have there been any other people like me who have come from beyond the earth?" "Yes, there are about 100 of them. They are all living in the West Hall. We did not restrict their movements." Qi Jinkong explained. "Can you take me to see it?" Lu Ming said. He wanted to see if there were any acquaintances. Perhaps Xian Yanqing was here too. "Of course, I'll go back and order people to prepare the red blood sand. Third uncle, you two take little brother Lu and go to the West Hall to take a look." Qi Jinkong ordered. "Yes, father," Qi Yu said with a smile. There was also a white-haired elder who brought Lu Ming to the west side of the hall. Along the way, many people sized Lu Ming up curiously. During this period of time, many people from the outside world had come and spread the news. They were all very curious. On the west side, there is a huge stone palace. Inside, there are many stone houses. During this period of time, over 100 people have been living here. They all came from the outer world, the chaotic astral ocean. Zhong Yuan had been in a bad mood recently. He was the sect leader of the blood poison sect. He had thought that by obtaining the key to the martial emperor's treasure, he would be able to obtain a supreme opportunity, allowing the blood poison sect to soar, and he would be able to break through all barriers and reach the supreme realm. However, he did not expect that all his plans would be ruined by Lu Ming, causing countless people to rush into the martial emperor's treasure. Not only that, after entering the martial emperor's treasure, he didn't obtain anything. Instead, he was being hunted down everywhere. In the end, he had no choice but to follow the people of the Red Leopard tribe to the Red Leopard tribe. At this time, he was drinking and chatting with two experts at the third level of the spiritual ocean tier in the courtyard. Brother Zhong, I'm guessing that the Saint Mountain in the underground world is most likely related to the martial emperor's treasure. We must join forces this time. An elder at the third level of the spiritual ocean tier said. That's right. I'm guessing that there's a way out of the holy mountain. We'll be able to leave this damn place. The other third level spiritual ocean tier martial artist also opened his mouth to speak. I hope so. Zhong Yuan drank a cup of wine. His eyes flickered as he thought about something. Squeak. At this moment, the door opened and Lu Ming and the rest walked in. The people in the courtyard also looked at the gate. With one look, Zhong Yuan's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent, and he said in a cold voice, "Little bastard, it's you." Chapter 705. 705 Zhong Yuan in despair. Lu Ming heard the sound and looked in the direction of the sound. His eyes were filled with a strong murderous intent. The blood poison sect master. A cold voice came out of Lu Ming's mouth. The white-haired elder in front of him was the blood poison sect master. He was the one who had injured him and tried to steal his jade sword. He didn't expect to meet him here. Ah, little bastard, I said before that I would kill you if I met you. You're really unlucky to have met me here. I'll see how you die this time. Zhong Yuan laughed and stood up from the table, exuding a terrifying aura. A martial artist at the fourth level of the spiritual ocean realm was too powerful. He was a whole lot stronger than a martial artist at the third level of the spiritual ocean realm. His aura was like a vast ocean, suppressing Lu Ming. Thump, thump. Zhong Yuan stepped forward, causing the ground to rumble. What do you want to do? Chi Yu stepped forward and stood in front of Lu Ming. Her face turned cold and she glared at Zhong Yuan. So it's Miss Chi Yu. Miss Chi Yu, please move aside. This person has a grudge with me, I must kill him. Zhong Yuan said coldly. No, this is the Red Leopard tribe. You are not allowed to fight. Chi Yu said coldly. Miss Chi Yu, you'd better step aside. This time, I've promised you that I'll go to the Holy Mountain to participate in the assessment. However, if I don't kill this person, don't blame me for not doing my best during the assessment. Zhong Yuan sneered. Anyone could tell that this was a threat. Among the 100-odd people who came to the Red Leopard tribe this time, Zhong Yuan's cultivation was the strongest. He had reached the fourth level of the spiritual ocean realm and was the most promising candidate among all the candidates in the Red Leopard tribe. These few days, the people of the Red Leopard tribe had been very polite to him. They had treated him as a distinguished guest, so he naturally had the confidence. I want him dead. At this moment, Lu Ming spoke. Upon hearing Lu Ming's words, Zhong Yuan was stunned for a moment before he burst out laughing. The other two elders at the third level of the spiritual ocean tier also laughed. Huh, this brat is a peak tier king tier. Has he gone mad? He actually wants Brother Zhong to die? Where does he get his confidence from? Could he have said this to Miss Chi Yu and the others? That's even more ridiculous. Does he think I'm more important than Brother Zhong? The young man can't recognize himself. How pitiful and lamentable. The two elders at the third level of the spiritual ocean tier laughed out loud, their voices filled with mockery. But the next moment, their smiles came to an abrupt end. It was because Qiyu looked at Lu Ming and said, "Are you serious?" "Yes. I must kill him." Lu Ming was resolute and decisive. "All right, if little brother Lu wants to kill him, I'll do it. Let's go," the Red Leopard clan elder said from the side. With a wave of his hand, a huge leopard puppet appeared, emitting a terrifying aura. 7th level spiritual ocean tier. This cheetah had an aura equivalent to the 7th level of the spiritual ocean realm, and the strength of that aura made people's hearts palpitate and make them despair. Zhong Yuan was dumbfounded. He looked at the Red Leopard clan elder with a pale face and screamed, "What are you guys doing? This kid is only a martial king. I'm countless times stronger than him. Only I have a chance in the Holy Mountains assessment. You should kill him, kill him. Little brother Lu is our Red Leopard tribe's benefactor." "What did he say?" "The Red Leopard tribe will do our best to satisfy him. Whoever he says he will kill, he will kill. Now die." The Red Leopard clan elder shouted coldly. The cheetah puppet let out a long roar and pounced towards Zhong Yuan at an unbelievable speed. No, how could this be? I'm not convinced." Zhong Yuan roared hysterically as he tried his best to resist. But the difference between a puppet at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm and a puppet at the 7th level of the spiritual ocean realm was too great. The cheetah puppet's claw tore through all of Zhong Yuan's defenses and attacks before tearing his body into two. The sect master of the blood poison sect, an almighty expert at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm, an expert whose name shook the chaotic astral ocean, had died just like that. He died in an extremely aggrieved manner. He didn't even know why he died. Why did the Red Leopard tribe listen to Lu Ming? The 2 3rd-level spiritual ocean realm old men looked at this scene with their mouths agape, and they almost bit off their own tongues. Then, the two of them looked at Lu Ming while trembling. Their backs were drenched in cold sweat. The Red Leopard tribe actually listened to Lu Ming. With just one word from Lu Ming, an elder of the Red Leopard tribe made a move and killed Zhong Yuan in one move. What was going on? They had all lived for more than 1,000 years, but now they found that their brains were completely unable to understand. Lu Ming strode forward and reached out to grab Zhong Yuan's storage ring. He also devoured Zhong Yuan's blood essence. Then, he looked at the 2 Sea of Soul realm old men and said in a cold voice, "You've lived for thousands of years, but you can't even understand the situation. How pitiful and lamentable." The 2 old men's faces were completely red, and they were too ashamed to show their faces. These were the words that they had given to Lu Ming just now. However, it had only been a short while and Lu Ming had returned the words to them in full. Every word of his was like a slap to their faces. Lu Ming ignored them. With Qiyu leading the way, he checked the place. Unfortunately, Xian Yanqing and Jian Filiu were not here. "Miss Qiyu, I need a room to cultivate in seclusion," Lu Ming said. Zhong Yuan was at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm, and the power of his blood essence was too strong. He needed to go into seclusion to refine it. No problem. Qiyu brought Lu Ming to the core area of the Red Leopard tribe and arranged a room for him. Lu Ming entered the room and entered the supreme shrine. He began to refine the blood essence. He had used all his blood essence to improve the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel. The stronger the bloodline of the prison-suppressing steel, the stronger the power of the prison-suppressing heavenly technique. The 9th Esilavir chakra became brighter and brighter. In the end, it was as bright as the other 9 chakra. The peak of the 9th level of the king realm. However, it was too difficult for a peak 9th level king to attain divine level bloodline. After Lu Ming refined all of Zhong Yuan's blood essence, he had a feeling that he was still a long way from attaining divine level. He did not know how much more blood essence he would have to consume before he could advance to the divine level. Half a day had passed. Lu Ming walked out of the room. "Lu Ming, you're done with your seclusion?" The moment Lu Ming came out, he saw Qiyu. "You've been waiting for me?" Lu Ming nodded. "Not really, I just got here. Do you want to walk around?" Qiyu said, "No, I'll go to 10,000 Snakes Valley to hunt for poisonous snakes. How do I get there?" Lu Ming shook his head and said, "I'll take you there. That's the Een snake tribe's territory. If we bring too many people, we'll attract their attention. How about just the two of us go? Use it. All right. Lu Ming nodded. The two of them left the stone city and headed west. The 10,000 Snake Valley was 30,000 miles west of the Red Leopard tribe. It was the Een snake tribe's territory. It was said that this place used to belong to the Red Leopard tribe a few decades ago. Later on, the Red Leopard tribe lost a large piece of land, and the 10,000 Snakes Valley area fell into the hands of the Een snake tribe. Riding on the puppet, the two of them arrived in less than half a day. This was also underground. If it was outside the ground, Lu Ming would not need half a day to travel 30,000 miles. Chapter 706. 706 Yan Yanqing's whereabouts. The vast mountains stretched as far as the eye could see. In the middle of the vast mountains, there was a huge valley. The valley was about 100 miles long, and it was completely silent. This was the 10,000 Snakes Valley. There were tens of thousands of poisonous snakes in the valley. Other demonic beasts did not dare to approach this place, so it was very quiet. The wind howled as Lu Ming and Qi Yu sat on the cheetah puppet and descended from the sky, landing at the entrance of the 10,000 Snakes Valley. The two of them kept the puppets and walked into the 10,000 Snakes Valley. Whoosh! Whoosh! Before they could go far, a black venomous snake shot toward them like black lightning. Bang! Qi Yu stepped lightly on the ground and runes appeared on the ground, forming an inscription formation. From the inscription formation, dozens of arrows shot towards the black figures. With a soft sound, the black snakes were accurately shot and flew out in all directions. The two of them continued forward. The valley was very wide, at least 10 miles in length. It was covered with dense weeds, old vines, low ancient trees, and piles of rubble. In some places, there were even some stinky swamps. Such an environment was most suitable for poisonous snakes to breed. As they moved forward, they encountered quite a number of snake attacks. However, these snakes were all below the 5th grade, which was equivalent to the martial arts grandmaster level. Whether it was Lu Ming or Qi Yu, they could easily deal with them. Moreover, the blood essence of these venomous snakes was useless. Lu Ming needed the blood essence of a venomous snake at the martial king realm. When the two of them had walked more than 20 miles, the level of the poisonous snakes started to increase. CSI. A colorful venomous snake slithered toward Lu Ming. It extended and retracted its tongue, releasing a poisonous mist. A king-level venomous snake. I've finally seen one. A smile appeared on Lu Ming's face. He took a step forward and reached out with his claw. The venomous snake could not put up any resistance and was caught in Lu Ming's hand. With a shake of his essential core, the venomous snake turned into ashes at a speed visible to the naked eye. In Lu Ming's palm, there were only 9 drops of blood essence that were red and crystal-like, rolling around like blood-red pearls. Buzz. And NBSP, whoosh. Then, Lu Ming suspended the 9 drops of blood essence in the air and quickly carved runes with both hands. One after another, runes seeped into the 9 drops of blood essence. After a while, the 9 drops of blood essence exploded with a bang and turned into a cloud of blood mist that filled the air. It's done. Lu Ming smiled. He then took out a jade bottle and absorbed all the blood mist into it. He wanted to use the blood essence of the venomous snake to create a blood mist and use it with the crimson blood sand to break the last 36 formations. This was also the reason why his level of inscription was not high enough. If he had become a level 6 inscriber and mastered some level 6 inscriptions and level 6 arrays, he would not need these materials to break the 36 arrays. However, a bottle of blood mist was obviously far from enough. The two of them continued to look for king-level venomous snakes to make blood mist. 60,000 to 70,000 li away from the 10,000 Snakes Valley was another large tribe, the Een snake tribe. The Een snake tribe was very powerful. In the past few decades, they had annexed many territories of the Red Leopard tribe, and their strength had expanded rapidly. The Red Leopard tribe could not compare to them. In the ancient city of the Een snake tribe, on top of a pavilion made of huge rocks, Xian Yanqing looked into the distance with his brows furrowed. She didn't come to the Yin snake tribe of her own free will. She was captured. Now, she had a ring on her wrists and ankles. The ring was like a snake wrapped around her body, and it was engraved with complicated inscriptions. This ring had the power to seal the genuine qi in Xian Yanqing's body and even the flame of inscription. She couldn't use her cultivation at all. Otherwise, she would have escaped from this place long ago. Squeak. The door of the room was opened, and a young man walked in. This young man was tall and handsome, but his eyes were long and narrow, giving off a very gloomy feeling. As soon as he walked in, the young man's eyes wandered all over Xian Yanqing's body. His eyes were burning with a strong desire to possess her. "What are you doing here again?" Xian Yanqing frowned. "Miss Xie, what do you think? I won't let you suffer if you marry me." The young man smiled slightly, which made him look even more sinister. "Get lost." Xian Yanqing shouted coldly, not at all polite. The young man's face turned cold. "Miss Xie, don't forget where you are. I'm trying to persuade you nicely. Don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. Get lost." Xian Yanqing's reply was still one word. "Good, good, very good, let's wait and see." The young man's eyes were burning with anger. He scanned Xian Yanqing's body a few times before he left. "This bitch, I want you to kneel down and beg me this morning." The young man's heart was burning with anger. What was his identity? The son of the Yin snake tribe's chief, the future successor of the Yin snake tribe, Yin K, had great talent. What couldn't he get? However, a few days ago when he saw Xian Yanqing, he was shocked. Xian Yanqing was too beautiful, completely different from the women in the underground world. Most of the underground women were rough, and their skin was bronze in color. Xian Yanqing, on the other hand, had jade-like skin and a graceful figure. He was immediately attracted to her. He caught Xian Yanqing and wanted him to be his 18th concubine. However, with Xian Yanqing's personality, the result was obvious. How could he agree? Yin K walked in the yard with a gloomy face. "Young master, what's wrong? That woman still hasn't agreed?" A skinny old man walked up and asked. "That's right. Not only did this bitch not agree, but she also told me to get lost. Elder Kue, what do you have in mind?" Yin K asked. "Young master, since the other party refused a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit, then let's use force. Let's just cook the rice." The skinny old man sneered. "Elder Kue, I've thought about it as well, but even if her true yuan and mental energy fire are sealed, her physical strength is still very strong. I'm afraid that if I were to use force, she would commit suicide. Otherwise, I would have done it long ago." Yin K said. As soon as he thought of Xian Yanqing's graceful figure, an evil fire burned in his body. "Young master, it's easy. It's the season for poisonous snakes to breed. The snake desire flower is in full bloom in the 10,000 Snakes Valley. The fragrance of the snake desire flower has no effect on people with Zhen Yuan or mental energy fire. However, without the protection of Zhen Yuan and mental energy fire, the body will go soft and lose all strength. At that time, young Master Ren will be the one doing whatever you want." The skinny old man gave a sinister smile. Yin K's eyes brightened, and he laughed out loud. "Elder Kue, you're really wise. Good, let's do it this way. Elder Kue, take a few people with you and use the excuse of going out to hunt to relax. Take that slut with you and follow me to 10,000 Snakes Valley. This time, I want to make that slut feel like she's going to die in the 10,000 snakes." "All right, I'll get it done." Elder Kue bowed. Not long after, Yin K, Xian Yanqing, Elder Kue, and 6 other people rode on 7 giant serpent puppets with wings and headed towards the 10,000 Snakes Valley. Chapter 707. 707 Silly girl, you're here. Xian Yanqing didn't want to go at first, but the other party greeted her with a smile and said that it was just a hunting trip to relax. Xian Yanqing couldn't refuse. If she refused, she was afraid that the other party would force her. Not long after, they arrived at 10,000 Snakes Valley. The group of 9 people walked in. In the beginning, they were indeed hunting poisonous snakes to make some medicine. Soon, they were about 30 miles away. You guys stay here and hunt for poisonous snakes. I'll take Miss Xian Yanqing to the front to take a look. Yin Ke ordered. All right, young master, you can go. Elder Kuei laughed, but there was a hint of gloominess in his smile. Miss Xie, let's continue forward. Yin Ke said to Xian Yanqing. Xian Yanqing frowned. She had a bad feeling in her heart, but she had no choice but to agree. She made up her mind that if the other party had any ill intentions towards her, she would rather die than let them have their way. Xian Yanqing nodded and followed Yin Ke inside. Soon, the two of them traveled another 5 to 6 miles. Red flowers bloomed all over the place. These flowers were very strange. They were in the shape of snakes, just like small snakes. They also gave off an intoxicating fragrance that smelled very good. Along the way, Yin Ke didn't do anything out of the ordinary. Xian Yanqing also gradually relaxed and slowly strolled around. But slowly, Xian Yanqing felt that something was wrong. She felt her body becoming weaker and weaker. She was very smart. She suddenly thought of something. Her face turned pale. She ran forward a few steps and said, Yin Ke, what did you do to me? You're using poison on me? Hee hee. Yin Ke saw that Xian Yanqing's body was indeed weak, and he laughed evilly. I didn't poison you. However, this place is full of snadesire flower. The pollen of this flower is like poison to those who can't use their vital essence and spiritual fire. Anyone who smells it will feel weak all over. Haha. Yin Ke laughed. What are you trying to do? Xian Yanqing kept retreating, feeling weaker and weaker. Hee hee, what are you doing? Bitch, I don't care what your status is outside the earth, but you'd better behave yourself here. I want to marry you as a concubine because I think highly of you, but you've refused me time and time again, and you even dared to scold me. Now, I'll let you know the consequences of rejecting me. In Yin Ke's eyes, the fire was dancing. His eyes wandered all over Xian Yanqing's body, and the fire in his eyes became stronger and stronger. Don't even think about it. Xian Yanqing shouted. Her spine suddenly glowed with a red light. Then, her body darted forward and ran into the depths of 10,000 Snakes Valley. Damn it. Yin Ke shouted angrily. He didn't expect that Xian Yanqing could still use such a strange power even though his vital essence and spirit fire were sealed. He was careless and Xian Yanqing ran hundreds of meters away. He immediately chased after her at top speed. In the end, Xian Yanqing's true essence and mental energy fire were sealed. Her body was special, so she could borrow some of the power of her bloodline. However, it was not much. Before she could run a mile, the power of her bloodline dissipated. She felt her body becoming weaker and weaker. She staggered and almost fell to the ground. Yin Ke caught up from behind. Hee hee, let's see where you can run to. I'll serve you well later. After running for a while, Xian Yanqing's body was covered in sweat. His sweat soaked his clothes, causing them to stick tightly to his body. His curves were even more shocking. Yin Ke's evil fire exploded as he looked on. His entire body was hot and he couldn't help but swallow his saliva. Xian Yanqing's eyes revealed a trace of despair. He touched his waist and a short dagger appeared in his hand. He pressed it against his chest and looked at Yin Ke with determination. If you want to use force, I'll die. Yin Ke's footsteps stopped and his face was dark. He said coldly, I don't believe that you don't even want your life. Then he strode forward. Lu Ming, you fool, where are you? Perhaps, you and I will never meet again. Xian Yanqing closed his eyes and stabbed the dagger into his heart. In the depths of the 10,000 Snakes Valley, Lu Ming took out a jade bottle and kept a cloud of blood mist. He then frowned. He didn't know why, but he had been feeling uneasy since just now. He felt inexplicably irritable. This was somewhat unbelievable. At Lu Ming's current realm, his martial arts heart was stable. Most things would not make him feel agitated. But just now, he felt inexplicably irritable and uneasy, but he didn't know the reason. Kid, what's wrong? Something's wrong with my condition. Dandan could tell Lu Ming's state. I don't know why, but I've been inexplicably irritable since just now. I keep having this uneasy feeling. Lu Ming said. Inexplicable restlessness? The deeper a martial artist's cultivation base is, the more they'll be connected to the laws of the universe and their minds will be clear. Therefore, any emotion that appears won't be without reason. Something is definitely going to happen. Dandan said. Lu Ming nodded. In ancient times, there were powerful people who could even predict some fragments of the future. It was mysterious and unpredictable. Wait a moment. Dandan closed her eyes and waved her pair of front claws, producing inscriptions. After a while, Dandan suddenly opened her eyes and said anxiously, "Not good, brat, your little lover is in danger." What? Lu Ming was stunned, but he immediately realized that Dandan was talking about Xian Yanqing. Little Qing, what's wrong with her? Where is he? Lu Ming asked anxiously. It's just a few miles away. Hurry up or it'll be too late. Dandan shouted. Buzz. Without the slightest hesitation, Lu Ming exploded. His figure was like a bolt of lightning as he charged out of the snake dowager. Chi Yu's eyes flickered and inscriptions appeared on her body, forming a pair of wings. With a flap, she turned into a phantom and followed. The distance of several miles was covered in a few breaths, time under Lu Ming's full outburst. When Lu Ming arrived, he saw Xian Yanqing's dagger stabbing into his heart. Blood was flowing out and it was a ghastly sight. Boom! At this moment, it was as if thunder had exploded in Lu Ming's mind. He could roughly guess what was going on with just one look at this scene. Little Qing. Lu Ming roared and pounced on Xian Yanqing like a bolt of lightning. He used his essential core to wrap around Xian Yanqing's arm, stopping her dagger from continuing. However, Lu Ming was still a little too slow. Xian Yanqing's dagger had already pierced through his muscles. A part of it had already pierced into his heart. Fortunately, it was not deep. Lu Ming wrapped his arms around Xian Yanqing's waist. His essential core surged into Xian Yanqing's body and protected his heart. Silly girl, you're here? I thought I'd never see you again. Xian Yanqing blinked his big eyes and looked at Lu Ming in a daze. He did not even blink, afraid that all of this was a dream. Don't say anything. Lu Ming said as his vital essence continued to flow into Xian Yanqing's body. His combat dragon vital essence was very active and successfully sealed Xian Yanqing's heart meridian. At the same time, Xian Yanqing's wound was slowly healing. He rejoiced that he had arrived in time. If he had been a little later, perhaps it would have been an eternal farewell. Chapter 708. 708 Killing intent like the tide, killing Yin Ke. Lu Ming's appearance stunned Yin Ke for a moment. At this moment, seeing Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming's intimate behavior, jealousy appeared in his eyes. He shouted coldly, "Kid, who are you? He's my woman, get lost." Buzz. At this moment, Chi Yu arrived. Chi Yu, is that you? How dare you trespass into the territory of the Yin Snake tribe? You're courting death. Yin Ke's eyes were filled with killing intent when he saw Chi Yu. Yin Ke. Seeing Yin Ke, Chi Yu's face sank. Lu Ming raised his head and looked at Yin Ke. A violent killing intent exploded from his body. He said in a cold voice, "Today, you must die." "Ha, kid, you think you can kill me? Brat, you dare to hold my woman? I will make you beg for death." Yin Ke sneered. "Kill." Lu Ming waved his hand and the giant wolf puppet appeared, pouncing towards Yin Ke. A fourth-ranked divine golem. Yin Ke's expression changed slightly. With a wave of his hand, a giant snake puppet appeared. It was also a puppet at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. The two puppets collided with each other. Kill. Lu Ming held Xian Yanqing in one hand and strode forward. A terrifying fist radiance burst forward. Wherever the fist radiance passed, the valley would shake. The old vines around the valley exploded and some poisonous snakes were turned into powder. Yin Ke's expression changed, and a picture scroll appeared in his hand. After he unrolled it, a light shield appeared and enveloped Yin Ke within it. On the light shield, A few venomous snakes were slithering nonstop. Boom! The fist radiance landed on the light shield, causing it to shake nonstop. However, it was not broken, and Inkei was sent flying. Damn it, kill! Inkei landed on the ground and took out another inscription scroll. He unfurled it and a giant snake that was dozens of meters long flew out, pouncing at Lu Ming. The infinite dragon spear appeared in his hand. He thrust the spear forward and a three-colored true dragon flew out to collide with the giant snake. However, the three-colored true dragon was dispersed by the giant snake's collision and continued flying toward Lu Ming. Lu Ming's expression changed slightly. This was clearly a 6th-level inscription scroll. Its power was equivalent to the attack of a 4th-level spiritual ocean tier. Roar! Chiyu controlled the cheetah puppet and pounced forward, clashing with the giant snake. Buzz! And NBSP, whoosh! The sound of air being torn rang out as Elder Kuei arrived with the other 6 people. Elder Kuei, kill that brat, and capture Chiyu and that little bitch alive. Inkei shouted. Buzz! And NBSP, whoosh! Powerful mental energy spread out from the heads of Elder Kuei and the others, forming a terrifying storm. Giant snake puppets appeared in the air. This is bad. That's a Tier 5 divine level inscriber. Lu Ming, let's leave quickly. Chiyu's expression changed drastically. Elder Kuei was equivalent to an inscriber at the 5th level of the spiritual ocean tier. He had lit up at least 4 blue spirit lamps. His puppet was also equivalent to the strength of the 5th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Chiyu, help me take care of little Qing. I must kill him today. Lu Ming put Xian Yanqing down and pointed his spear at Inkei. At this moment, Xian Yanqing was already fine and was standing behind Lu Ming. Ha, brat, you can't even protect yourself and you still want to kill me? You're dreaming. I've changed my mind. Elder Kuei, capture him alive. I want him to suffer a fate worse than death. Inkei laughed out loud, his expression extremely malevolent. CSI. Elder Kuei controlled the giant snake puppet and it pounced at Lu Ming. Its tongue was like a sword, piercing through space. Chiyu gritted his teeth and controlled the cheetah puppet to charge forward, but before he could even exchange 2 moves with the giant snake puppet, he was sent flying. The other 6 people were also extremely powerful. The puppets they controlled were at least at the level of the spiritual ocean tier. There were even 2 giant snake puppets that were at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. Chiyu's puppet was entangled by a puppet at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier, while the other giant snake puppets charged at Lu Ming. Lu Ming's glabella glowed and there were traces of lightning swimming around. He was ready to control the lightning cauldron and launch a fatal attack. Ta! Lu Ming controlled the giant wolf puppet to block in front of him. At the same time, he stomped on the ground frantically. Yaya, watch me. Dandan landed on the ground and kept waving its claws. Ow! The giant wolf puppet was entangled by a giant snake. It kept howling and shooting sparks in all directions. That giant snake was Elder Kuei's puppet. It was too powerful. The giant wolf puppet let out a series of banging sounds and exploded continuously. In the end, the giant wolf puppet was completely destroyed, becoming a pile of scrap metal. Kill! Go! Lu Ming shouted. The inscription formation appeared and formed a large bow. An arrow shot towards Inkei like a shooting star. Watch me! Dandan waved her claws, and dense runes appeared. Countless vines appeared and wrapped around the 5 or 6 giant snake puppets, tightly binding them. Inkei's expression changed and he took out another inscription talisman scroll. After opening it, a combat sword flew out and clashed with Lu Ming's arrow. Kill. Let's use the inscription scroll together and kill that brat. Elder Kuei shouted coldly. An inscription talisman appeared in his hand, and so did the others. As soon as he opened it, all kinds of attacks were launched at Lu Ming. There were swords, sabers, ice, storms, and so on. All of them were attacks that were equivalent to the spiritual ocean tier and above. Some of them were even at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier and above. They were too powerful and Lu Ming could not possibly block them. He would be turned into dust in an instant. Lu Ming! Xian Yanqing and Qi Yu both exclaimed. Die! Lu Ming's eyes were cold. His eyebrows suddenly glowed with a bright light. A large cauldron flew out, and lightning filled the air. The moment the cauldron flew out, Lu Ming's essential core was instantly sucked dry. Even his life essence was sucked away. Every time he used it, he would lose 50 years of his life. However, Lu Ming did not care. He had to kill Yin Ke today. The lightning cauldron rapidly grew in size as a fearsome might gushed forth from it. It was as if it could destroy the heavens and earth. At this moment, everyone felt the fear of facing the heavens. Retreat! Retreat! Elder Kuei's pupils contracted as he retreated in a frenzy. Not only him, but everyone else also retreated in a frenzy. At the same time, runic scrolls appeared, and a light screen enveloped their bodies. Especially Yin Ke, he opened all the inscription scrolls and at least 7 light screens covered his body. Boom! The lightning cauldron descended and suppressed everything. Boundless lightning power descended, destroying all life. Bang! Bang! Other than Elder Kuei and Yin Ke, the other 6 people died instantly under the lightning cauldron. Elder Kuei and Yin Ke were like leaves in the wind, constantly drifting. The light shield on Yin Ke's body was constantly being destroyed. His face was full of fear, and it was twisted into a ball. Boom! The lightning cauldron fell and quickly shrunk. It flew back to Lu Ming's glabella and disappeared. The 10,000 Snakes Valley was charred black. Whether it was the ancient trees, wild grass, or poisonous snakes, they were all charred black as if they had experienced a lightning tribulation. Elder Kuei and Yin Ke spat out large mouthfuls of blood. They lay on the ground like 2 dead fish, unable to move. Chapter 709. 709 The Killing Intent of the Yin Snake Tribe. Qi Yu was dumbfounded. He did not expect that Lu Ming would suddenly summon a large cauldron and kill 6 Yin Snake Tribe experts with a single strike. Moreover, he had severely injured Elder Kuei and Yin Ke. All of this made her feel like she was in a dream. Who? Lu Ming heaved a long sigh of relief and collapsed to the ground. Now, there was not even a trace of true essence in his body. His face was pale, which was caused by his lifespan being extracted. Lu Ming, are you all right? Xian Yanqing gasped and walked over to support Lu Ming, his eyes filled with worry. Xian Yanqing's body was strong and his vitality was strong. Now, the wound on her chest was slowly healing and she was fine. Little Qing, help me over. I want to kill them. Lu Ming said. Xian Yanqing nodded and helped Lu Ming walk forward. At this moment, Elder Kuei and Yin Ke were lying on the ground like mud, half dead. In such a situation, they naturally couldn't control the puppets. Those giant snake puppets were all like statues, lying on the ground and not moving. Little brat, what do you want to do? I'm telling you, I'm the young master of the Yin Snake Tribe, and my father is the chief of the Yin Snake Tribe. If you dare to kill me, you'll die without a doubt. Yin Ke shouted. I said, you must die today no matter who you are. It won't change the result. With Xian Yanqing's help, Lu Ming walked forward slowly. Above his head, a green spiritual fire spread out. His body was weak and he couldn't use his true essence, but he could still use his mental energy fire. Brat, I advise you to let us go. I've already sent a message back through a voice transmission talisman. If you kill us, you'll have to face the crazy revenge of the Yin Snake Tribe. At this moment, Elder Kuei sneered. He barely moved his body and a voice transmission jade talisman appeared in his hand. Ha, well done, Elder Kuei. Yin Ke laughed out loud. He then looked at Lu Ming and shouted, Brat, my father has already received the news that you're dead for sure. Now, if you cripple your own arms and legs and obediently give that slut to me to serve me, I might spare your lives. Little Qing, I can't move right now. I can't even inscribe inscriptions. I'll leave these 2 to you. Lu Ming said to Xian Yanqing as if he did not hear Elder Kuei and Yin Ke's words. All right. Xian Yanqing helped Lu Ming sit down. With a dagger in his hand, he walked toward Elder Kuei. "Bitch, what do you want to do?" In Ke roared. "You dare!" Elder Kuei roared. Xian Yanqing was unmoved and strode forward. Chiyu came to Lu Ming's side, hesitating to speak. "Puchi!" Xian Yanqing walked in front of Elder Kuei and swung his dagger. Elder Kuei's head flew far away. Then he walked towards In Ke. "No, don't come over." In Ke was terrified, his face full of fear. He did not expect that Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing would dare to kill them after knowing that news of them had reached the Yin snake tribe. Where did they get the guts to do that? The Yin snake tribe was the most powerful tribe in the area. You should have expected this day to come. Xian Yanqing's eyes were filled with killing intent. With a flash of his dagger, In Ke's head fell to the ground. All the Yin snake tribesmen were dead. "Lu Ming, we have to leave this place as soon as possible. The Yin snake tribe's experts might be here soon." Qiyu said. "All right." Lu Ming nodded. Qiyu put away all the giant snake puppets that were still in good condition. Then, she controlled the cheetah puppet to carry Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing and fly back to the red leopard tribe at top speed. Lu Ming sat cross-legged on the cheetah puppet's back, constantly circulating the true war dragon technique and beginning to recover his essential core. The side effects of using the lightning cauldron were just too obvious. He would lose all his true essence and his body would be weak. Even if he still had his mental energy fire, he wouldn't be able to inscribe any inscriptions. It was like he was a chicken at the mercy of others. Furthermore, he now had a better understanding of the lightning cauldron's power. The stronger his cultivation was, the more powerful the lightning cauldron would be after absorbing the true essence. With his current cultivation, he should be able to pose a fatal threat to experts at the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. But he might not be able to kill them. Just now, there were 2 4th-level spiritual ocean tier inscription masters in the Yin snake tribe. The reason they were able to kill them in one blow was that those inscription masters had used their spiritual power to control the puppets, and the puppets were entangled by Dandan's formation and couldn't turn around to save them. They could only rely on the inscription scrolls to resist, and their defense was naturally greatly reduced. That was why they were killed by Lu Ming in one move. Under normal circumstances, he would at most heavily injure a 4th-level spiritual ocean tier expert, but not kill him. As for those at the 5th level of the spiritual ocean tier, they would probably only suffer light injuries. Of course, if Lu Ming could enter the Sea of Souls realm, his thunder mentality and true essence would increase greatly. Then, the power of the lightning cauldron would also increase crazily. I'm so tired. I've accumulated so much energy, but it's all used up in one go. Kid, this time, you must compensate me well." Dandan lay on Lu Ming's shoulder, rolling her eyes continuously. A few hours after they had left, a strong gust of wind blew and a dozen experts arrived at 10,000 Snakes Valley, riding on giant snake puppets. The leader of the group was a middle-aged man with a poisonous snake wrapped around his neck. When they arrived, they quickly rushed into the depths of the 10,000 Snakes Valley. Not long after, an earth-shaking roar was heard. "Kid from the outer world, Red Leopard Tribe, kill, kill, kill." His voice was full of killing intent. Even the snakes in 10,000 Snakes Valley trembled and shrank back into their caves. When Lu Ming and the rest returned to the Red Leopard Tribe, Lu Ming focused on recovering his cultivation. At this moment, Lu Ming had already recovered a stream of vital essence in his dantian. Then he took out a large number of top-grade spirit crystals and devoured the energy in them to recover his cultivation. With a trace of essential core, Lu Ming's recovery speed had greatly increased. As soon as Qiyu returned to the Red Leopard Tribe, she went to find Qi Jinkong to report the situation. "What? Lu Ming killed In Ke?" Qi Jinkong's shocked voice came from a large hall. "Yes, father. What should we do now?" Qiyu stood in front of Qi Jinkong and said. Qi Jinkong's face was solemn. He frowned and said, "In Buhai only has one son, and he has always doted on him. Now that In Ke has been killed, I'm afraid he will go crazy and take revenge. Pass down the order to strengthen the defense of all places. Also, I will immediately inform the elders to come here for a meeting. The atmosphere in the Red Leopard tribe became tense, but Lu Ming was still fully focused on recovering. Half a day after he returned to the Red Leopard tribe, his true essence had finally recovered to its peak. Little Qin, let me remove the seal on your hands and feet. Lu Ming walked out of the room and saw Xian Yanqing. Now, Xian Yanqing's injuries were much better and he was almost fully recovered. Silly girl, are you all right? Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming worriedly. I'm fine now. Lu Ming walked over and held Xian Yanqing's hand in front of his eyes. He observed the ring seal on her wrist. Xian Yanqing blushed slightly when Lu Ming held her hand. Don't bring about the extermination of your Red Leopard tribe. Yin Buhai said coldly. Impossible. Qi Jinkong's reply was decisive. Yin Buhai frowned and his face turned even gloomier. His eyes flickered and he said, How about this, Qi Jinkong? I know you can't bear to part with your daughter. I don't want you to hand over Qi Yu, but as long as you hand over the 2 extraterrestrials, I'll retreat. Impossible. Qi Jinkong replied with the same 2 words. Yin Buhai's face darkened. He said, Qi Jinkong, don't refuse a toast only to drink a forfeit. I'll give you 3 days to discuss it. If you don't hand over the 2 people after 3 days, I will personally lead the army and raise the Red Leopard tribe to the ground. I will make sure that the Red Leopard tribe will be wiped out forever. After saying that, Yin Buhai waved his hand and led his men away. Not long after, the Yin Snake tribe's army had all left. It was not that he was not afraid of the Red Leopard tribe. The main thing was that he had hurriedly assembled an army this time, and their strength was not very strong. If he rashly attacked the Red Leopard tribe, he was afraid that both sides would suffer losses. He also needed time to gather more power. As the Yin Snake tribe retreated, Qi Jinkong let out a long sigh of relief. Pass down my order. Gather all the forces of the Red Leopard tribe and send them back to guard the ancient city. Elders, follow me back to the meeting hall. Qi Jinkong ordered. A moment later, the meeting hall of the Red Leopard tribe was filled with more than 20 people. Not only were the elders of the Red Leopard tribe present, but there were also many ordinary elders. Tribe leader, in my opinion, we should just hand over the 2 young men. Why start a war with the Yin Snake tribe for 2 outsiders? That's right, Chief. Those 2 young men were overconfident. They actually dared to kill Yin K. They were looking for death. We can't drag the Red Leopard tribe down because of 2 people from the outer realm. Some of the ordinary elders urged Qi Jinkong to hand over Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. No. Qi Jinkong's voice was heard. No? Why not, Chief? An ordinary elder asked doubtfully. I won't hide it from you. Lu Ming was able to break the formation that sealed the previous clan leader. Now, he has already broken 100 formations. There are only 36 left. He will be able to break all of them in a few days. At that time, we will be able to find the secret inscription manual of our tribe and return our Red Leopard tribe to its former peak. Said Qi Jinkong. His voice was like a storm that swept across the entire place. What? There's such a thing? Many ordinary elders were shocked. Then they fell silent. They finally knew why Qi Jinkong was protecting Lu Ming. This was related to the rise and fall of the Red Leopard tribe. Patriarch, I don't think so. A voice rang out. It was from the Pure Gold Mountain. With such a major event happening, he was naturally summoned back for a discussion. Pure Gold Mountain walked out and said loudly, there are still 36 more sealing arrays left. It's still unknown whether that Lu Ming can really break them. Moreover, even if he can break them, so what if we get the inscription refinement secret manual? The Yin Snake tribe destroyed our tribe before we could even rise to power. I think we should hand over Lu Ming and that woman to stabilize the Yin Snake tribe first. That way, at least we won't be destroyed. The Pure Gold Mountain's words caused many elders to fall into deep thought. Indeed, the Pure Gold Mountain's words were not without reason. If the tribe was annihilated, what was the point of obtaining the inscription's secret manual? Qi Jin Kong also frowned. He could not refute this. Chapter 711. 711 Chapter 711 Way to Win. Seeing everyone's expression, Pure Gold Mountain's face revealed a smug expression, and he continued, "Moreover, there are only 36 sealing formations left. As long as we hand over Lu Ming and the woman, we can stabilize the Yin Snake tribe. Then we can slowly think of a way to break the last 36 formations. This is the best plan." That's right, what the Pure Gold Mountain elders said makes sense. An elder spoke out, supporting the Pure Gold Mountain statement. This caused excitement to flash in the Pure Gold Mountain's eyes. I object. Lu Ming is our clan's benefactor. If we treat him this way and word gets out, what will others think of our clan? Also, the most important thing now is the awakening of the ancient ancestor. As long as we can stop the Yin Snake tribe's attack, we'll enter a period of peace. If Lu Ming can awaken the ancient ancestor, he'll definitely value our tribe. That's the foundation of our tribe's rise. Qi Yu's second uncle, Qi Jin Tian, said. That's right, I also agree with second brother's words. Qi Jin Kong said. Second brother, clan leader, you've overestimated Lu Ming. There are many extraterrestrials who have descended this time. How did you know that Lu Ming is the legendary chosen one? We can't bet the fate of our race on this tiny possibility. Right now, we have to deal with the Yin Snake tribe. The most important thing is to protect our tribe. Pure Gold Mountain shouted loudly, causing many people to nod their heads. What if I can destroy the Yin Snake tribe? Suddenly, a voice came from outside the hall, causing everyone's heart to skip a beat. They couldn't help but look outside the hall. 3 young figures walked in. Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, and Qi Yu. Lu Ming was the one who said those words just now. This is our clan's meeting hall. How can you bring 2 outsiders in? The Pure Gold Mountain berated. It's fine. Our clan is greatly indebted to Lu Ming. We can enter the discussion. Qi Jin Kong waved his hand, causing Qi Jin Shan's expression to turn ugly. The Pure Gold Mountain's face darkened as he looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, what did you just say? You can destroy the Yin Snake tribe? Not bad. Lu Ming nodded. You're so full of yourself. You're just a heaven-grade inscriber? Kid, do you know how strong the Yin Snake tribe is? Laughable, truly laughable. The Pure Gold Mountain laughed loudly, revealing a mocking expression. Hee, I remember that you said that I was talking big before. How could a mere sky realm break the seal formation? How did I break it in the end? Lu Ming replied indifferently. The Pure Gold Mountain's face turned red. He had indeed said such words back then, but the truth had proven that his words were just nonsense. This is completely different from breaking the seal. The Yin Snake tribe is extremely powerful. There are dozens of tribes in the area. How can they be destroyed just like that? The Pure Gold Mountain chided coldly. Of course I have my ways. Lu Ming said. If you have a way, why don't you say it out and let everyone see if your method is feasible? Qi Jinshan said. I can't say it now. If I want to say it, I'll only say it to the patriarch. Lu Ming said. You're clearly trying to stall for time by spouting nonsense. What can you do? Pure Gold Mountain shouted. Because I don't trust you. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. What? Kid, what do you mean by this? If you dare to slander me, I'll kill you right now. The Pure Gold Mountain roared. All right, sixth brother, you can leave now. I believe in Lu Ming. At this moment, Qi Jin Kong spoke. His voice revealed an unquestionable meaning. I believe in Lu Ming too. I also believe that. Qi Jin Tian and a few clan elders spoke one after another. Qi Jin Kong and a few clan elders with the most authority all spoke, and the others immediately fell silent. Thank you for your trust, seniors. Clan leader, can you ask the others to leave? Senior Jin Tian and the other clan elders can stay. I have a plan to destroy the Yin Snake tribe. Lu Ming said. All right, you can all leave. Qi Jin Kong waved his hand in an unquestionable manner. The pure gold mountain's expression was extremely ugly. He gritted his teeth and could only retreat. Soon, only Qi Jin Kong, Qi Jin Tian, and a few elders were left in the hall. Of course, Qi Yu and Xian Yanqing were also there. Lu Ming, do you have any way to exterminate the Yin snake tribe? A look of hope flashed in Qi Jin Kong's eyes. He was satisfied as long as he could stop the Yin snake tribe's attack, let alone destroy them. Chief, if the Yin snake tribe were to attack the red leopard tribe, would they attack from the sky or from the ground? Lu Ming gave an irrelevant answer. Of course we'll attack from the ground. In the air, they'll be covered by our arrows, and in the air, they can't inscribe formations to defend. If they use inscription talismans all the time, they won't be able to afford it. If we attack from the ground, we can cooperate with each other. One person will control the puppet, and the other will inscribe an inscription formation to block our arrows. At the same time, they can also shoot back arrows. Qi Jin Kong explained. That's good. If I have a way to cut off the connection between the Yin snake tribe's people and the puppets, do you have the confidence to defeat the Yin snake tribe? Lu Ming smiled. What? Cut off the connection between the Yin snake tribe's people and the puppets? Qi Jin Kong's eyes were burning with a fiery light. The others were the same. If that's the case, our tribe will be able to annihilate the Yin snake tribe with our puppet army. Qi Jin Kong's eyes were bright as he glared at Lu Ming. If they could really annihilate the Yin snake tribe, the red leopard tribe's reputation would definitely soar, and their strength would also increase rapidly. That's good. I know of a formation that can cut off the connection between the enemy and the puppets once they enter the formation. As long as we set up the formation outside the ancient city, the Yin snake tribe will be killed if they attack. Lu Ming smiled confidently. There's such a wondrous formation. Qi Jin Kong was shocked. He frowned and said, if that's the case, won't our clansman's connection with the puppets be cut off if they charge in? It's fine. I have a small puppet controlling technique here. After using it, you can avoid being cut off from the puppet by that kind of formation. Moreover, this small technique is very easy to learn and can be learned in a few hours. Lu Ming took out a jade tablet and handed it to Qi Jin Kong. The clan leader can teach this little technique to some of his confidants, but please don't explain the use of this technique. It'll be troublesome if word gets out. Good, huh? Qi Jin Kong took it and laughed excitedly. The others were also excited. There's no time to lose. I'll go and inscribe the great inscription formation now. However, clan head, you'd better keep an eye on the pure gold mountain elder. Lu Ming said as if he was implying something. Don't worry, I know what to do. Qi Jin Kong's eyes flickered as he thought of something. Lu Ming nodded and left with Xian Yanqing and the rest. Chapter 712. 712 Chapter 712 War begins. Of course, this formation was told to him by Dan Dan. It was indeed mysterious and was an ancient formation that had gone extinct. However, there was a flaw in this kind of large array. It was too complicated to inscribe and required a very long time. It was impossible to activate it instantly. Moreover, it was only useful against puppets, so it slowly disappeared in the long river of history. However, it was just right for now. After walking out of the West City Gate, Lu Ming began to inscribe. One by one, the complicated inscriptions sank into the ground and disappeared. As time slowly passed, the Red Leopard tribe began to recall their forces to guard their headquarters. The Yin Snake tribe also began to gather a large number of people to prepare for battle. The other tribes were all observing the battle. Even if the Yin Snake tribe could destroy the Red Leopard tribe, they would suffer some losses. The other tribes would naturally sit on the mountain and watch. 3 days passed quickly. On the third day, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Qi Yu, Qi Jin Kong, and the others stood on the city wall. There were people everywhere on the city wall. In the sky above the ancient city, many people summoned their puppets and sat on their backs, floating in the sky. They're here. Suddenly, Qi Jin Kong's voice sounded. 3 huge snake puppets flew towards them from the sky. They were Yin Buhai and the 2 elders of the Yin Snake tribe. More of the snake tribe's army rode on the giant snake puppets and followed the ground to the rear. Buhai and the 2 clan elders stopped in the sky a few miles away. "Kid, you killed my son?" Buhai looked at Lu Ming and said in a cold and heartless voice. "That's right, he should die." Lu Ming's reply was very simple. "Good, very good. Boy, I swear that I will make you suffer the most painful torture in the world. I will make you face a dilemma of life and death." His eyes were frighteningly dark, like those of a poisonous snake. Then he looked at Jin Kong Chi and said, "Jin Kong Chi, it seems like you don't want to hand him over? Are you planning to bury the entire red leopard tribe with this kid? If you have the ability, you can try." Chi Jin said. His attitude was clear. "Good, very good. It seems that you have forgotten the dignity of the snake tribe after a few years of not conquering it. In that case, the red leopard tribe shall be destroyed." Buhai's voice spread far and wide. As soon as he said the word, "Dang me," a deafening battle cry came from behind. "Kill. Raze the red leopard tribe to the ground. Kill all the men, but leave the young women behind." The snake tribe members shouted as they controlled the giant snake puppet to follow the ground and rush towards the red leopard tribe's ancient city. There were too many people, at least 20,000 giant snake puppets, and 2 people were sitting on each of them. One engraved a defensive formation, while the other controlled the puppets and shot arrows at the same time. They were well coordinated. "Prepare the bows and arrows." Chi Jin waved his hand. Instantly, tens of thousands of people knocked their arrows. "Fire!" Chi Jin waved his hand again. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A large number of arrows were shot towards the snake tribe's army. Each arrow had a rune on it. There were powerful explosive runes, as well as gale runes that could increase speed and penetration. More than 10,000 arrows covered the sky. The snake tribe's army began to glow with runes and formations. Light barriers appeared one after another, covering both the puppets and humans. At the same time, a portion of the snake tribe's army also drew their bows and shot arrows at the red leopard tribe. At the same time, Elder Gu of the red leopard tribe also activated his inscription formation. Boom! Boom! The sound of the explosion reverberated unceasingly, and the ground was constantly shaking and shaking. This kind of battle was a battle between alchemists, which was completely different from the battle between an army of warriors. However, the momentum was not small at all. However, the snake tribe had more people and more experts. They were constantly advancing and shooting their arrows. The red leopard tribe was already at a disadvantage. "Summon the puppets and prepare for a great battle," Chi Jin Kong ordered. The defensive light shield formed by the great inscription formation on the ancient city was shaking continuously. It would not last for long. More cheetah puppets appeared on the city walls and in the sky. The snake tribe's army was getting closer and closer. They were only a few miles away from the red leopard tribe's ancient city. Lu Ming stood on the city wall, his gaze sweeping across the distance. "It's almost time." Suddenly, Lu Ming mumbled. His hands glowed with a green light and he started to inscribe in the air rapidly. Finally, it turned into a large inscription array and flew down to the ground outside the city wall. "Great formation rise!" Lu Ming shouted. Buzz! At this moment, the entire ground seemed to shake. Then, countless inscriptions appeared on the ground. One formation after another, it was unknown how many there were in total, but they covered an area of 30 miles in length and width. Yes, Lu Ming spent 3 days and did his best to inscribe a large array within a 30-mile radius. Almost all of the snake army was covered in the mist. At this moment, the snake tribe was in an uproar. "What's going on? Why can't I control the puppets?" "Me too. It seems like my connection with the puppet has been cut off. How could this be? I'll try. I can't control it either." All sorts of terrified cries rang out. Those who were originally only assisting with the inscribing array also summoned their own puppets, but the result was the same. All of them were cut off from their puppets. The tens of thousands of giant snake puppets were like rocks, standing there motionlessly. Kill, kill, puppet troops, kill. Seeing this, Qi Jingkong's eyes lit up with excitement. He knew that he had made the right bet. He took the lead and rushed out of the city. Those who had been secretly taught and cultivated the puppet controlling technique that Lu Ming had taught them all followed Qi Jingkong. They rode on the cheetah puppet and rushed outside. This army had a total of 8,000 people, and each of them had a cheetah puppet. They were the true elites of the Red Leopard tribe. Originally, there were only 8,000 of them, but the Een Snake tribe had sent out 40,000 elites. They were no match for the Een Snake tribe. But now, he couldn't control the Een Snake tribe's puppets. He could only use inscriptions and runes to fight them. The difference in combat power was unknown. There was a huge difference in combat strength between having a puppet and not having one. Qi Jingkong led his 8,000-strong army and charged into the Een Snake tribe's army. Instantly, all sorts of howls and screams rose and fell. One-sided, completely one-sided. Although the Een Snake tribe tried their best to resist, it was still one-sided. Without the puppets, they had lost their most powerful weapon. As for the Red Leopard tribe, they controlled the puppets and attacked with all their might. The puppets were not afraid of pain or death. They madly charged forward, tearing apart the Een Snake tribesmen one after another. Blood splattered all over the ground. Warriors of the Red Leopard tribe, follow me and attack the ancient city of the Een Snake tribe. Qi Jingkong's voice reverberated throughout the entire area. This time, the Een Snake tribe had sent out 40,000 elite soldiers with the intention of flattening the Red Leopard tribe in one fell swoop. However, the defenses of the Red Leopard tribe's ancient city were definitely the weakest. This was the best time to attack. I'm willing to follow the chief and raise the Een Snake tribe to the ground. The Red Leopard tribe's warrior roared. Immediately, the army of over 10,000 soldiers controlled the puppets and headed in the direction of the Een Snake tribe. Lu Ming did not participate in this battle. He returned to the ancient city with Xian Yanqing and cultivated in seclusion. The Een Snake tribe's elites had been exterminated, and even Een Buhai had died. The outcome of this battle was almost predictable. In the Supreme Shrine, Lu Ming had the path-understanding ancient tree next to him and a piece of earth intent crystal in his hand. Back then, on the small island in the Heaven Realm, Lu Ming had obtained many types of earth profound crystals. The number was not less than the wind and fire profound crystals. Now, the force of the earth had already fused with the three intents. Now, it was time to improve. There were 9 types of commonly seen heaven and earth intent realms: wind, fire, water, metal, wood, thunder, ice, earth, and mountain. As for the earth mentality, it was similar to the earth and mountain mentalities, but it was more advanced. It could be said to be an evil-levered version of the two mentalities. It was a special kind of mentality that was full of heaviness, vicissitudes, and ancientness. Not only was its offensive power extremely shocking, suppressing everything, but its defensive power was also extremely terrifying. It was an extremely powerful intent realm. Right now, he was only at the beginner stage of Earth Force and could not unleash its power. When Lu Ming improved it, the power it could unleash would be extremely terrifying. Gotcha! He crushed an Earth Profound crystal and started cultivating. One after another, 3 days later, Lu Ming had consumed a total of 30 Earth Profound crystals. He had cultivated Earth Force to large success, just a step away from perfection. It was obvious that Earth Force was harder to cultivate than the 9 commonly seen forces or intents. At this moment, Lu Ming ended his cultivation. In the past 3 days, Qi Jingkong had led his army to battle. Now, he had finally returned. Without a doubt, the Een Snake tribe had been destroyed. The Red Leopard tribe had broken into the ancient city, and many people had surrendered to the Red Leopard tribe. In particular, the large areas of land that had been occupied by the Een Snake tribe in the past, as well as the tribesmen of the Red Leopard tribe who had been enslaved by the Een Snake tribe, had all returned to the Red Leopard tribe. In a short time, the red leopard tribe's strength and reputation had greatly increased. The surrounding tribes were all shocked. They had never thought that the powerful Een snake tribe would be destroyed. Immediately, all the tribes strengthened their defenses. This was especially so for the tribes that had enmity with the red leopard tribe. They were even more jittery and strengthened their defenses by several times. The red leopard tribe held a grand celebration. During the celebration, Qi Jin Kong and the other leaders of the red leopard tribe thanked Lu Ming in public. This battle was all because of Lu Ming. Many people were secretly glad that they had chosen to believe in Lu Ming. Otherwise, how could there be such results? The red leopard tribe had been suppressed ever since the previous tribe leader was killed and sealed. After being suppressed for so many years, they finally had the feeling of being able to hold their heads up high. Naturally, they were excited. Everyone was happy, but there were two people who weren't happy. They were the Pure Gold Mountain and the Pure Peak. Damn it, how did this happen? The Pure Gold Mountain growled in a low voice. He clenched his fists so tightly that cracking sounds could be heard. His eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. If looks could kill, Lu Ming would have long pierced through 1,000 holes. Lu Ming furrowed his brows. He seemed to have sensed something and suddenly turned to look at the Pure Gold Mountain. The Pure Gold Mountain was shocked and quickly turned its head. Lu Ming's lips curled into a cold smile. Lu Ming, I knew I was right. When I first saw you, I knew you were the legendary destined one. Qiyu walked in front of Lu Ming, her big eyes blinking. She was very excited. Chapter 714. 714 Trader. We haven't even reached the Holy Mountain yet. It's too early to say that I'm the chosen one. I don't know how to wake your ancient ancestor up. Lu Ming smiled. Don't be so modest, Lu Ming. I have a feeling that you're the only one who can awaken the ancient ancestor on this trip to the Holy Mountain. To be honest, if it weren't for the fact that you're from the outside world and have to return one day, and that you have such a beautiful girlfriend like Miss Xie, I'd really like to keep you by my side and be my man. Red Moon blinked her big eyes and spoke very directly. Cough cough. Lu Ming kept coughing. He did not expect Red Moon to be so direct. Indeed, the humans in the underground were different from those outside. On the side, Xian Yanqing blushed and said, I'm not his confidant. Miss Qiyu, why don't you let him stay and be your man? This pervert will definitely be willing to do it. Oh really? Then I won't be polite. Qiyu chuckled, her gaze sweeping between Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing. Pervert quickly agree. Xian Yanqing's big eyes were fixed on Lu Ming. He emphasized every single word. Aha, this wine is so good. Ha, the moon is so beautiful today. Lu Ming picked up a glass of wine, took a big gulp and laughed awkwardly. However, this was the underground world. Where did the moonlight come from? 2 days later, Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing, Qiyu, Qi Jin Kong, Qi Jin Mountain, and a few elders of the Red Leopard tribe gathered at the canyon where the previous chief of the Red Leopard tribe was sealed. The crimson blood sand and the poisonous snake blood mist were all ready. Now they could break the last 36 sealing formations. Lu Ming strode forward. With a wave of his hand, a cloud of crimson blood sand floated in the air. Then he took out a jade bottle that contained the blood mist of a venomous snake. He opened the bottle and the blood mist flew out, mixing with the crimson blood sand. Following that, Lu Ming's fingers moved rapidly in the air. He was so fast that afterimages appeared in the air. Whoosh! Whoosh! Inscriptions attached to the crimson blood sand and the poisonous snake's blood mist flew into the grand sealing formation. Everyone held their breath and watched quietly. Qi Jin Kong and the others had a look of anticipation in their eyes. However, there was one exception, and that was Pure Gold Mountain. His eyes were filled with anxiety, and his gaze flickered with uncertainty. Buzz! The sealing formation glowed and a huge poisonous rainbow snake pounced out. However, the poisonous rainbow snake was covered in a layer of blood-red mist. Bang! The poisonous rainbow snake collapsed in midair. The first of the last 36 formations had been broken. Lu Ming continued to break the seal, his fingers moving non-stop. The crimson blood sand and the poisonous snake's blood mist were also constantly consumed. Soon, the second formation was broken. In this way, one after another, Lu Ming cracked the major arrays. Every time Lu Ming cracked 9 major arrays, he would sit cross-legged and restore his mental energy fire. In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. There was only one formation left out of the 36. Qi Jin Kong and the others stared at it with wide eyes. They were so excited that their breathing became heavy. On the other hand, the pure gold mountain clenched its fists and slowly moved its body to the front, close to Lu Ming's position. As Lu Ming's fingers moved, inscriptions fell on the ground. CSI. This time, a total of 3 7-colored venomous snakes flew out and crumbled in the air. The seal has been broken. The heavens have blessed our red leopard tribe. The pure gold mountain gave a loud cry and was the first to move, directly charging into the valley. Lu Ming's eyes turned cold. He took a step forward and a vine shot out, wrapping around the pure gold mountain. What's going on? Lu Ming, it's you. What are you doing? The pure gold mountain roared. Why are you so anxious? Lu Ming sneered and dashed into the valley. The pure gold mountain roared in anger. A puppet appeared and broke through the vines. He also rushed in. At the same time, the pure gold mountain and the rest also rushed into the valley. The valley was not big. Not long after he rushed in, Lu Ming saw a skeleton leaning against the wall, sitting cross-legged. Lu Ming saw at a glance that one of the skeleton's claws was holding a jade tablet. On its finger was a storage ring. Get lost. Behind them, the pure gold mountain roared angrily. Lu Ming sneered. With a sweep of his vital essence, he took the jade card from the skeleton's storage ring into his hand. Lu Ming, what are you doing? You want to steal the treasure of the previous clan leader? You're courting death. The pure gold mountain's eyes turned cold as it controlled the puppet to charge towards Lu Ming. Clang! At this moment, another puppet rushed out and blocked the puppet from the pure gold mountain. It was the pure gold mountain puppet. Clan leader, don't block me. You should have seen that this brat has ulterior motives and wants to seize the previous clan leader's treasure. The pure gold mountain roared. Pure gold mountain, what are you so anxious about? Who said I wanted to steal the treasures of your previous clan leader? I'm only here to hand it over to the clan leader. Lu Ming waved his hand and the jade token and storage ring flew to Qi Jin Kong. Qi Jin Kong caught them in his hands. Qi tribe leader, that jade tablet should have been left behind by the previous tribe leader before he died. It should contain some important information, you should take a look. Lu Ming said with a smile. Pure Gold Mountain's face was extremely gloomy. Qi Jin Kong picked up the jade token and sank his spiritual power into it. Then, his expression changed drastically and became extremely ugly. The Pure Gold Mountain's figure was slowly moving towards the outside. Elders, take down the Pure Gold Mountain. Qi Jin Kong suddenly roared. Although the few elders were stunned, they did not hesitate. Puppets appeared and surrounded the Pure Gold Mountain. Patriarch, what is the meaning of this? Pure Gold Mountain's expression was extremely ugly. What do you mean? Pure Gold Mountain, I really didn't expect that you were the one who betrayed the previous generation clan head. If not for that, how could the previous generation clan head be besieged and fall in the end? Before the previous generation clan head died, he had already recorded everything in this jade token. Pure Gold Mountain, how should you be punished? Qi Jin Kong roared, his eyes red. His heart ached. He had never thought that it was the Pure Gold Mountain that betrayed the previous clan head. Lu Ming nodded. It was indeed so. Back then, Qiyu had brought him here and said that he could break the Great Sealing Formation. The Pure Gold Mountain had opposed it with all its might and had even tried to find a reason to kill Lu Ming. This in itself was very strange. The others were hoping that Lu Ming could break the seal and let him try. Only the Pure Gold Mountain tried its best to stop him. It was as if it was afraid that Lu Ming would break the seal. Therefore, Lu Ming had been on guard against him. When they were breaking the last formation, Lu Ming had been on guard against him. He used the formation to stop him and was the first to obtain the item left behind by the Red Leopard tribe's previous tribe leader. If it were to fall into the pure Gold Mountain's hands, he would definitely destroy the evidence. When the few clan elders heard this, their expressions also changed greatly as they looked at the pure Gold Mountain with dark faces. Haha. Seeing that he had been exposed, the pure Gold Mountain laughed loudly and said, "That's right. I did it all. After so many years, everything should have disappeared. It's all because of this brat. He destroyed everything. The heavens want me dead." Chapter 715. 715 Chapter 715 Sacred Mountain. But why are you doing this? Qi Jinkong said. It's simple. The Een Snake tribe and the Heavenly Wolf tribe gave me enough resources to break through a few levels. It's enough for me to use for a few hundred years. What does the death of the previous clan leader have to do with me? What does the decline of the Red Leopard tribe have to do with me? It's not like I'm going to inherit the position of clan leader, ha! The pure Gold Mountain laughed madly. Selfish, selfish. Tribal elders, take down pure Gold Mountain and extinguish his spiritual fire. Bring him back to the tribe and execute him in public. Qi Jinkong ordered. There was no suspense in this battle. The few clan elders were all extremely powerful. Under their joint efforts, the pure Gold Mountain had no chance of resisting. Not long after it was taken down, its mental energy fire extinguished, and it was brought back to the Red Leopard tribe. Lu Ming was no longer concerned about what happened next. He focused on closed-door cultivation and waited for the underground world's rest period before heading to the Holy Mountain. In the underground world, there was a 1-month period of rest every year, and half a month before and after the day of the ancient ancestor worship. During the period of ceasefire, no tribe was allowed to wage war, and no one was allowed to kill the people of other tribes who passed by. If anyone violated this rule, they would be besieged by the other tribes and annihilated. There was still about half a month before the rest period. Like Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing was cultivating in seclusion. The battle of Providence was getting closer and closer, and he felt a sense of urgency. It was said that the top 600 on the list of top 1,000 talents were almost all Sea of Soul Realm warriors, and only a few of them were King's Realm warriors. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were far from being able to compete with the spiritual ocean tier elite. Lu Ming sat cross-legged in the Supreme Shrine. He crushed the earth intent crystals one after another as he focused on increasing his earth force. 7 days later, the force of the earth had reached perfection. Lu Ming used a middle-grade profound meaning crystal to break through to the next realm. He broke through in one go and condensed an intent rune. The earth force had successfully transformed into first-level earth concept. However, this was far from enough. If he wanted to display his powerful combat strength, he had to cultivate the earth will to the completion of level 1. Lu Ming continued to cultivate with the earth intent crystal. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. Lu Ming had cultivated the intent of the profound meaning of the earth to level 1 lower tier. And NBSP, with such a terrifying increase, the number of intent crystals he had consumed was also enormous. At this time, the underground world had finally reached a period of peace. The Red Leopard tribe was preparing to head to the Holy Mountain. Little Qin, how's the harvest during this time? Lu Ming asked as he strolled with Xian Yanqing in the courtyard. The wind concept has broken through to the second level. This time, I'm faster than you, right? Xian Yanqing's eyes narrowed as he chuckled. You broke through to level 2? Lu Ming smiled bitterly. Xian Yanqing's talent was indeed terrifying. His thunder, wind, and fire concepts were all stuck at the limit of the first level. He was only one step away from the second level, but he couldn't break through. He didn't expect that Xian Yanqing had already broken through to the second level. Xian Yanqing's cultivation had already reached the peak tier of the King Realm. As long as his destruction intent broke through to the second level, he would be able to open his spirit sea and become a Sea of Spirit Realm expert. The spiritual ocean tier was known as the Almighty, and it was the first tier of the 3 spiritual divine tiers. It was not something that the king's tier could compare to, and was definitely a qualitative leap. However, who knew how many people had been trapped to death by this step? The two of them chatted as they walked. After a while, they arrived at a large square outside. There were already many people gathered here. One after another, huge cheetah puppets stopped in the square. "Lu Ming, monsieur, you're here? We're about to set off." Qiyu walked over and said with a smile. This time, Qi Jinkong personally led the team, along with 2 clan elders and more than 100 experts from the Red Leper tribe. They were all heading to the Holy Mountain. Qiyu was also going with them. Lu Ming waved his hand and a huge cheetah puppet appeared on the ground. This cheetah puppet was equivalent to the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. It was a gift from the Red Leper tribe. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing leaped onto the back of the cheetah puppet. "Everyone's here, let's go," Qi Jinkong ordered. The cheetah puppet rose into the air and flew toward the north. Like Lu Ming, there were more than 100 people who came from the outer world. They headed to the Holy Mountain together to participate in the assessment. The Holy Mountain was to the north of the Red Leopard tribe, separated by dozens of tribes of various sizes. The distance was quite far, so they could only rush without rest. And NBSP, no tribe stopped them on the way. After 13 days of non-stop traveling, they finally arrived at the foot of the sacred mountain and set up camp there. What a magnificent mountain peak! Lu Ming stood at the foot of the mountain and looked ahead. A huge and majestic mountain stood between the heaven and earth. It pierced straight into the sky, surrounded by clouds and mist. The mountain covered a very wide area. At the foot of the mountain, one could see tribes after tribes that were clearly divided. Just like the Red Leopard tribe, they had set up camps. After 2 days, the outsiders would have to go up the mountain for the assessment. Legend had it that the underground ancient ancestor lived on the peak of this mountain. The people underground couldn't climb the mountain. According to the legends, only those from the outer world could climb the mountain. After going through a test, the person who reached the top of the mountain would be able to awaken the ancient ancestor. Could this Saint Mountain be the real location of the martial emperor's treasure? Lu Ming pondered. He believed that not only him, but most of the people from the outside world also thought so. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. On this day, a dense crowd appeared around the holy mountain. "Lu Ming, monsieur, it said that there's an array of endless inscriptions on the holy mountain. You can't fly up, you can only climb on foot," Qiyu said to Lu Ming. Lu Ming nodded. "Let's go." A loud roar was heard. Lu Ming saw that someone from another tribe not far away had already rushed up the holy mountain. The strange thing was that as soon as those people rushed up the holy mountain, they disappeared. As expected, there was a formation on the holy mountain. Buzz. Buzz. However, not long after, Lu Ming saw that some of the people who had rushed in flew back from inside. "What's going on? What's the situation inside?" Someone hurriedly asked. "I need to clear the levels inside. When experts of the same cultivation level as me start to appear, more and more experts will appear after each level. If I fail, I'll be bounced back." Someone sighed. "It seems like there won't be any danger if we fail. Let's go." Following that, more and more people rushed into the mountain. Not long after, more people were bounced back. On the side of the Red Leopard tribe, some people also rushed in, but they were also bounced back soon after. The situation they encountered was similar to the others. Experts of the same cultivation level appeared to fight with them. The more rounds they passed, the more experts would appear later. "Little Qing, let's go," Lu Ming said. "All right, be careful." Xian Yanqing's figure fluttered and rushed towards the holy mountain. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing walked side by side. As he continued to head upwards, the surrounding environment suddenly changed again. This time, Lu Ming came to an underground cave. In the underground cave, there was a pool of water. The water was so clear that one could see the bottom. It seems that there were a total of 7 stages before. Now we've arrived at another stage. Lu Ming pondered. For this round, you must count the number of ripples in the water. If you are correct, you will pass. At this moment, a voice was heard. Count the ripples of the water drops? It seems like this trial tests one's observation skills. Lu Ming's heart stirred. Then he came to the side of the pond. A drop of water fell from above and landed on the surface of the water, creating ripples. Lu Ming was highly focused, his eyes fixed on the surface of the water. Layers of ripples continued to spread. At first, it was clear, but in the end, it became fainter and fainter, and finally disappeared. A total of 1,356 levels. Lu Ming answered. Correct. Let's see what happens next. The voice rang out again. This time, there were 2 drops of water that fell into the pool. The ripples formed by the 2 drops of water interfered with each other and overlapped each other. The difficulty was more than 10 times higher than before. Lu Ming had to count the number of ripples produced by the 2 drops of water. After a while, the water droplet disappeared. 2,537. Lu Ming answered. Correct. Continue watching. The voice rang out again. There are more. Lu Ming frowned. There were 3 water droplets this time. The ripples formed by the 3 drops of water interfered with each other, making it even more complicated. Lu Ming observed it carefully. After a moment, the waves disappeared. Lu Ming frowned. In his mind, he kept recalling the waves that he had just seen. How many waves? The voice asked. 3,600. Lu Ming answered. Congratulations on your success. The voice was heard, and then a sword flew over. Lu Ming held it in his hands. This combat sword is of such high quality. It should be a 6th-tier superior grade combat sword. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Spirit weapons were divided into low grade, middle grade, high grade, and above high grade, there were supreme grade and peerless grade. Lu Ming's infinite dragon spear was now a 6 extreme superior grade sword. The quality of this combat sword was much higher than Lu Ming's infinite dragon spear. Unfortunately, Lu Ming could not use it. In another cave, Xian Yanqing waved his hand and grabbed a combat sword. A supreme grade lever 6 combat sword. Xian Yanqing kept it and continued walking. Just like Lu Ming, Xian Yanqing had also obtained a demigod-level martial arts technique and this combat sword. In a cave, Jian Filiu also passed 2 rounds and got a demigod-level martial technique and a combat sword. With this martial technique and combat sword, my combat strength can continue to improve. Jian Filiu's eyes revealed his excitement. At this moment, at the foot of the sacred mountain, people were constantly being sent flying. There's only Lu Ming and Miss Ye left. I wonder how they're doing? Qi Jinkong sighed. Almost all of the more than 100 extraterrestrials from the Red Leopard tribe had failed. Only Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing were still inside. Dad, don't worry. I believe that Lu Ming will definitely succeed. Qi Yu's eyes were bright. She had great trust in Lu Ming. The Red Leopard tribe was still fine. Many tribes were already sighing in despair because they had been completely annihilated. On the holy mountain, Lu Ming put away his combat sword and strode forward. The scene around him changed again. In front of him, 9 passages appeared, leading to the front. Lu Ming frowned. What was this test? Chapter 717. 717 Emperor Path Expert. There are 9 paths here, and only one of them is the path of life. The other 8 are paths of death. Once you step in, you will die without a doubt. You can choose one to enter. The voice rang out again. Lu Ming was shocked. 9 paths, 8 paths of death, and 1 path of survival. If he were to choose, the chances of survival were only 1 in 9. Was this a test of luck? Senior, may I ask if there are any hints? Lu Ming asked. No hints, you can choose. A voice rang out. Lu Ming's brows furrowed even more tightly. Could it really be a test of luck? That's impossible. Luck is something that's illusory and no one can say for sure. Since the person who set up these formations wanted to take the test, there's no way it was a test of luck. It's better to just test my luck. Lu Ming's mind was spinning rapidly. You have 5 minutes to consider. If you don't choose, you can just retreat. The voice rang out again. Why 5 minutes? I can make my decision now. Lu Ming smiled and strode toward the middle path. 9 paths appeared in front of Xian Yanqing, exactly the same as Lu Ming's. Xian Yanqing pondered for a moment before he strode into the 4th path. Jian Filiu looked at the 9 paths in front of him and frowned. After a while, he sighed and turned around. After a short while, he appeared at the foot of the mountain. Faced with a 1/9 chance of survival, how many people could make a choice? Lu Ming stepped onto the middle path. The next moment he found himself in a huge cave. The cave was very wide, and in the middle of the cave, there was an altar. At this time, in the cave, there was a flash of light and another figure appeared. Little Qin. Lu Ming's eyes lit up. It was Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming. Xian Yanqing looked at Lu Ming and walked over with a smile. As expected, the 9 paths were a lie. Xian Yanqing smiled. It's not really a lie. You need to test a person's courage and wisdom. Lu Ming said. Lu Ming speculated that the previous 9 paths were not 8 dead ends or 1 path of survival. Instead, all of them were paths of survival. As for the 8 dead ends, it was purely a scare. This would depend on everyone's judgment. Of course, it would also require great courage. For some people, even if they could guess the answer, it was a different matter whether they dared to step in. What if there was really a dead end? This place required courage. There was no doubt that Xian Yanqing and Lu Ming had successfully passed the test. After a moment, no one else appeared. Only Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing appeared. Sigh, after so many years, someone has finally come here. At this moment, a sigh was heard. Who is it? Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's expressions changed. Didn't you all come here to find me? Lu Ming saw a figure appear on the altar in the middle. It was a middle-aged man in his 40s. He wore a long, 2-colored robe and was floating in the air. A terrifying pressure emanated from his body. The middle-aged man did not release any aura, but the pressure he exuded was natural. Lu Ming had a feeling that he was facing a vast heaven and earth, a whole world. Strong, too strong. Lu Ming was shocked. However, this middle-aged man was obviously not a real person. He was an illusionary body that seemed to be transparent. Strong, he's too strong. He's an emperor, an expert of the emperor path. Dandan screamed in horror, her 4 limbs and head all retracted into the turtle shell. Lu Ming and Xian Yanqing's hearts trembled. Wasn't an imperial path expert a martial emperor? The person in front of him was actually a martial emperor? Was the martial emperor's treasure real? Interesting little turtle. The middle-aged man glanced at Dandan, then at Lu Ming and then at Xian Yanqing. It was as if the sun, moon, and stars were shifting in his eyes. A single breath from an imperial figure could kill them 8 to 10 times over. Senior, if you're not happy, I'll have to go against Martial Emperor Di sooner or later. Lu Ming cupped his fists and said, You and Martial Emperor Di will go against each other? You're just a martial king, what kind of enmity do you have with him? Wait, could it be the one in your body? Lian Song's eyes seemed to be able to see through everything. Buzz! At this moment, Lu Ming's body glowed like the sun. Chapter 719. 719 The Ancient Ancestor Awakens. This disciple thanks Master. Lu Ming was overjoyed and thanked him. How precious was the lifetime's worth of knowledge and cultivation experience of an Emperor Path expert. It was countless times more precious than any treasure. In the future, when Lu Ming cultivated, he would take fewer detours and could improve at the fastest speed. This was an Imperial Dao expert. In the Divine Wilderness continent, he was the strongest expert. He was not like Dandan, who bragged about how powerful he was every day. However, he was only half-baked and knew a lot of things. He would only throw it to Lu Ming and let him learn by himself. He had no experience to learn from. Liao Tsang nodded. He took out a scroll and handed it to Lu Ming. This is the spirit weapon I used in the past. It's called the Myriad array diagram. Unfortunately, it was damaged during the battle with D. Many of the inscriptions and arrays on it have been destroyed, but it's still very powerful. With your current cultivation, you can't use it yet. When your cultivation improves in the future, it may be of great use to you. Take it. Myriad array diagram. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. He took the myriad array diagram and put it away. Lu Ming had never heard of the all-formation picture. However, since it was Lien Tsang's treasure, it must be extraordinary. At the side, Nine Suns Supreme was secretly shocked. Lu Ming had never heard of it, but he knew that the myriad array diagram was the treasure that made Liao Tsang famous. It was a powerful 9th-level spiritual weapon and an imperial treasure. Its power was earth-shaking and could destroy the sky. It was extremely terrifying. Now, Lien Tsang gave such an important treasure to Lu Ming. It was clear that he valued Lu Ming very much. My dear disciple, your little girlfriend is also extremely talented. Her bloodline and physique have a strong background. Since she has reached the last stage, I must show her some appreciation. Now, let me help you unleash the power of your bloodline to the extreme. Lien Tsang waved his hand and a ray of light enveloped Xian Yanqing. A blood-red light flashed behind Xian Yanqing, and a lotus flower appeared. On the lotus flower, a beautiful woman sat cross-legged. So it really is this bloodline. Even in that family, this kind of bloodline only appears very rarely. It's called a variant. Let me see the effect of the Nirvana bloodline. Lien Tsang's fingers moved and a magical array entered Xian Yanqing's blood. Immediately, Xian Yanqing's blood formed a black cocoon. Xian Yanqing sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. He seemed to have started cultivating. Yes. Liao Tsang nodded and said, I should be able to achieve nirvana in 3 days. Zhiyang, how's the situation in the Talisman Amulet sect? He asked. Nine Suns Supreme Master pondered for a moment and said, ever since the incident with Senior Lien, the Talisman sect, and Puppet sect have been dissatisfied with each other and have been divided into 2 factions. Their strength has been greatly weakened. Now, a large area of the Talisman sect's territory has been occupied by the Empyrean Heavenly Divine Palace and the Heavenly Corpse sect. They are not as good as they used to be. I knew that this would be my end the moment something happened to me. Lien Tsang sighed. I've even heard that the puppet lineage might have the intention of joining the Empyrean Heaven Divine Palace. Supreme Nine Suns said, Damn it, the Talisman sect cannot be destroyed like this, disciple. Suddenly, Lien Tsang looked at Lu Ming and said, the million array illustration is not only a supreme treasure, it is also a token of the Talisman Amulet sect's sect leader. From now on, the Talisman Amulet sect will be handed over to you. After you leave, you have to think of a way to reorganize the Talisman Amulet sect and merge the 2 sects into one. We will regain our former glory. Me? Lu Ming was a little confused. How could he have the strength to deal with a behemoth like the Talisman sect? My disciple, since you are my successor and have my token, the Talisman Amulet sect is naturally yours. Once you have the Talisman Amulet sect in your hands, you will have the capital to fight against Martial Emperor D in the future. Liao Tsang said. That's right, Lu Ming. In the future, it was possible for them to become the strongest tribe in the underground world. There were so many tribes in the underground world, but none of them had a spiritual cultivation technique. This was the legendary Holy Bibles. The other tribes were extremely envious. Some people looked at the jade token in Qi Jinkong's hand with burning eyes. Also, each of these 9 inscription scrolls can kill those above the god level. You can keep them. Lien Tsang's voice was heard again. The 9 inscription scrolls flew towards Qi Jinkong. Thank you for your gift, ancient ancestor. Qi Jinkong received it and bowed again. With these 9 inscription talismans, he could ensure the safety of the Red Leopard tribe. Some of the tribes with other thoughts immediately felt their hearts turn cold. It was obvious that the ancient ancestor wanted to protect the Red Leopard tribe. How could they dare to have any disloyal thoughts? Qi Yu, clan leader Qi, Lu Ming will take his leave now. At this moment, Lu Ming's voice entered Qi Yu and Qi Jinkong's ears. Qi Yu looked up and saw the ancient ancestor wave his hand. Lu Ming's figure disappeared. Qi Yu felt lost and sighed in her heart. She knew that after today's farewell, they might never see each other again. Lu Ming was a heaven's favorite from the outer world. The outer world was so vast, and the underground was only a stop in Lu Ming's journey. At the same time, Lian Cong disappeared. Jian Filiu, who was standing in a tribe, also disappeared. The surrounding environment changed. Lu Ming realized that he had returned to the cave. With a flash of light, Lian Cong appeared. At the same time, Jian Filiu appeared as well. As soon as Jian Filiu appeared, he retreated hurriedly and put on a vigilant look. He only heaved a sigh of relief when he saw Lu Ming. He looked at Lian Cong, Lu Ming, and Xian Yanqing and said, "Brother Lu, what's going on?" "Brother Jian, in a few days, the three of us will go out and return to the outside world. As for other matters, please don't ask too much," Lu Ming said. Jian Filiu was stunned. However, even though he had many doubts in his heart, since Lu Ming said not to ask too much, it most likely involved some of Lu Ming's secrets. Jian Filiu was smart and naturally did not ask too much. For the rest of the time, Lu Ming and Jian Filiu sat cross-legged, waiting for Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming's consciousness sank into his mind and he realized that there was a shiny object in his mind. There were layers and layers of formations on it. This was the sealing formation that Liao Cong had sealed in his mind. It was related to Liao Cong's Tao of refinement and cultivation experience. Lu Ming controlled the mental energy fire and moved closer to the seal array. The first level of the array was not very strong. It was broken through by the mental energy fire not long after. Lu Ming found himself in an extremely vast space. There were countless Lian Congs sitting cross-legged, explaining the Tao of inscription and their cultivation experience. It was as if there were countless Lian Congs teaching him how to cultivate. He would listen to any one of them. Amazing, truly amazing. Lu Ming sighed. He stopped in front of one of the Lian Congs and started to listen. After this Lian Cong explained for a while, he repeated what he had just said. Lu Ming listened to it a few times and felt that he had understood it. He walked to the next Lian Cong. In this way, Lu Ming continued to listen to them one by one. These were all Lian Cong's knowledge and cultivation experience about the Tao of inscription of level 5 and below. Although Lu Ming had already reached the limit of the 5th level, he realized that he still had many shortcomings after listening to it. His foundation in the Tao of inscription was becoming more and more solid. In the blink of an eye, 3 days had passed. On the 4th day, Xian Yanqing's aura began to rise rapidly. The black cocoon floating above her head began to crack. Lu Ming and Jian Filiu finished their cultivation and looked at Xian Yanqing. "Brother Lu, you don't know about the Heavenly King ranking battle?" Jian Filiu was a bit dumbfounded. Lu Ming shook his head. He really did not know. "All right. In the Heavenly King domain, there are 2 Heavenly King steels that open once every 3 years. The Heavenly King steels have a miraculous effect on peak-tier kings, and many people have broken through to the Sea of Soul Realm because of them. However, there is a limit to the number of places that can obtain the final opportunity. There are only 108 spots. However, there are countless peak king tiers in the Eastern Barren Territory. Everyone wants these 108 spots, so it triggered a series of fights. This is the battle for the Heavenly King ranking. Now, the battle of the Heavenly King ranking is not only for the 108 spots, but also for the ranking of the kings. It is a kind of glory to determine the strongest king. Among them, the top 10 on the Heavenly King ranking are known as the 10 Heavenly Kings. Jian Filiu explained in detail. "Oh." Lu Ming nodded. He roughly understood. This meant that they had to compete for both the ranking and the opportunity. The battle of the Heavenly King's ranking is extremely intense. Since there's no age limit, Many old monsters who have cultivated for almost 1,000 years will be dispatched. There are many experts. Those old monsters may have limited potential, but after accumulating for so many years, their combat strength is extremely terrifying. Many geniuses on the list of top 1,000 talents are no match for them. Jian Filiu said. All right, we'll go to the Golden Sword sect with you first, then head to the Heavenly King domain. Lu Ming immediately made a decision. His wind, fire, and thunder intent realms were all stuck at the limit of the first level. Perhaps the Battle of the Sky King list would be an opportunity for him to break through. Without breaking through the Spirit Sea, it was almost impossible to stand out in the Battle of Providence. Xian Yanqing nodded as well. Although she had heard of the Heavenly King ranking battle, it was only hearsay. She was also quite curious. Then, the three of them rose into the air and flew toward the west. The Golden Light region, where the Golden Sword sect is located to the west of the chaotic astral ocean. After flying for a day, the three of them arrived at a large island. They matched the map to their current location. It should be a 10-day journey from the Golden Light region. Let's ride the puppets. With a wave of Lu Ming's hand, a giant snake puppet appeared. This giant snake puppet was 50 meters long and had a combat strength equivalent to the 4th level of the spiritual ocean tier. It came from the Een snake tribe. This time, Lu Ming brought quite a number of puppets back. Jian Filiu was shocked when he saw Lu Ming take out the giant serpent puppet and felt the powerful aura it exuded. I didn't expect Brother Lu to be so powerful in both martial arts and inscription. Jian Filiu sighed. To be able to control a puppet that was equivalent to the 4th level of the spiritual ocean realm, Lu Ming's mental energy fire was definitely extremely terrifying. Needless to say, he was definitely a true inscription alchemist. At this age, not only was his martial arts so terrifying, but he had also reached such a realm in the Tao of inscription. Jian Filiu wailed in his heart. Was he still human? Lu Ming smiled and did not say much. The giant serpent puppet was very large, and there was a lot of space for the three of them to ride on. Hoo! The giant snake puppet flapped its wings, and a strong gust of wind blew. They transformed into streaks of light and flew forward. So fast! Lu Ming was slightly shocked. After exiting the ground, he discovered that the speed of the giant snake puppet was many times faster than when it was underground. As expected, its speed was completely suppressed when it was underground. Flying became many times more difficult, and once they were out of the ground, it was as if they were suddenly freed from their shackles and were free to fly in the sky. The giant snake puppet's flying speed was even faster than their flying speed. It was truly equivalent to a 4th level spiritual ocean tier cultivator hurrying on their way. Chapter 722. 722 Meeting the Blood Evil Island team again. The boundless ocean passed by in the blink of an eye. 2 days had passed. Riding on the golems, they could cultivate as they traveled. Yes, there's a battle cry coming from the front. Lu Ming had an idea and the giant snake puppet slowed down. Jian Filiu and Xian Yanqing also stopped their cultivation. It looks like there are pirates trying to kill the caravan. Xian Yanqing said, "Let's go and take a look." Lu Ming waved his hand and put away the giant snake puppet. He transformed into 3 rays of light and flew forward. Luo Xen was in despair. She watched the people of the Flame Chamber of Commerce die one by one in battle. This time, the Flame Chamber of Commerce had a large amount of valuable goods to transport to the Golden Light region. The goods were very valuable, and the Flame Chamber of Commerce had mobilized almost all their forces. Chen Dao, the strongest expert in the Flame Chamber of Commerce, and Luo Xian's father, Luo Ming, was also a peak-tier king. In addition, there were 2 other peak-tier kings, making it a total of 4 peak-tier kings. Their strength could not be said to be weak. However, the other party was even stronger, because they were the Blood Evil Pirate Group. Yes, it was the Blood Evil Pirate Group again, and this time, all of them were mobilized. What made them despair was that not only did the Blood Evil Pirate Group have 4 peak-tier kings, their leader was even at the 1st level of the spiritual ocean tier. They were completely outmatched and had already been surrounded. Bang! The leader of the Blood Fiend pirates was called Blood Fiend. With one palm, Chen Dao spat out a mouthful of blood and retreated. Yunsha, we've already agreed to hand over all our goods. Why are you still killing us? Luo Ming roared. He was really unwilling. But, last time, my fifth and sixth brothers tried to rob your Flame Chamber of Commerce, but they were killed in the end. During this period of time, I have been investigating the movements of your Flame Chamber of Commerce, intending to avenge my fifth and sixth brothers. I didn't expect to hear the news that all of you are on the move. How can I miss such an opportunity? Bloody Ghost sneered. The killing intent on his body was extremely strong. Luo Exen laughed bitterly, so that was the case. The Blood Fiend pirates wanted to take revenge for those people. Back then, the two peak-tier kings of the Blood Fiend pirates were killed by Lu Ming. However, in that situation, the Blood Fiend pirates wanted to annihilate them. Of course, they had to retaliate. She did not blame Lu Ming. She could only say that the Flame Chamber of Commerce was fated to have such a calamity. Little girl, I heard that my fifth brother fell for you and was killed later on. Why didn't you agree to it back then? Why didn't you just agree to my fifth brother's request? You actually dared to resist and even ordered people to kill them. Today, I'll take you down and let my other brothers enjoy you. I'll let you know what regret is. Yun Sha's voice was extremely cold as a venomous snake that was about to choose its prey. Qin Dao, you will bring Exen to break out of the encirclement. I will block them with all my strength. Luo Ming said to Qin Dao. Father, we can't leave together. Luo Xian shouted. If Luo Ming stayed behind to block them, it would definitely be a dead end. Go, where do you want to go? Today, none of you will be able to leave. The other four peak-tier kings of the Blood Fiend pirates spread out in all directions. There were also many other experts who blocked the other escape routes of the Flame Chamber of Commerce. Also, who was the murderer who killed my fifth and sixth brothers? Hurry up and tell me so that you won't suffer so much. Shueisha asked coldly. The Tao of Inscription will not benefit you. Jian Filiu explained. Lu Ming nodded and had a rough idea of what was going on. It seemed like this Heavenly King ranking competition would be extremely intense. All of a sudden, a young man slammed the table. His eyes were like lightning as he looked at another table and said coldly, "You're just a frog in a well. What do you know about the matters of the heaven's pride?" This young man was tall and burly, with strong muscles and a powerful aura. One look and one could tell that he was an expert. Three young men in gray robes were sitting at another table. They were the ones who had said that the last few on the list of top 1,000 talents would be expelled. What's wrong? Did I say something wrong? One of the young men sneered. If you're not on the list of top 1,000 talents, how do you know how powerful they are? The tall and burly youth sneered. Oh, so you're a heaven's favorite on the list of top 1,000 talents? The gray-robed young man smiled faintly. I am Gao Chang. The burly young man said arrogantly. As soon as he said that, the other people in the restaurant were moved. Gao Chang was ranked last on the list of top 1,000 talents. However, no matter where he ranked, he was still a heaven's favorite on the list of top 1,000 talents. His strength and talent were absolutely amazing. Oh, so it's Gao Chang, who's at the bottom of the list of top 1,000 talents. A beauty like you should have been eliminated long ago. The gray-robed young man was not surprised at all after hearing this. Instead, he revealed a faint mocking expression. In that case, you're very strong. I'd like to experience it. Gao Chang stood up, his eyes were cold, and the aura on his body became violent, like a fierce beast. You want to fight? Today, I'll let you know how useless you are. The gray-robed young man sneered and stood up as well, his body exuding a cold aura. Let's go out and fight. After Gao Chang finished speaking, he rushed out of the restaurant and flew into the sky. 2 senior brothers, wait for me to come back and continue drinking. The gray-robed youth laughed. He then rushed out of the restaurant and flew into the sky. The other people in the restaurant flew out one after another, watching the battle with interest. After all, one of them was on the list of top 1,000 talents. Even if he was ranked last, his combat strength was definitely not weak. Who was that gray-robed young man? With such strong self-confidence, it seemed that Gao Chang was nothing in his eyes. The other people in the surroundings also gathered around. That's Gao Chang. Someone recognized Gao Chang. In an instant, a large number of people gathered in all directions. Let's see what kind of ability you have to dare to speak such arrogant words. The aura on Gao Chang's body was getting more and more terrifying. He was like an immemorial vicious beast that was choosing people to eat. Boom. Boom. He took a step forward, and the space rumbled as terrifying energy wreaked havoc. Mad Beast Fist. Gao Chang threw out a punch, and a beast's roar sounded, shaking the heaven and earth. Small tricks. The gray-robed young man sneered. Layers of black mist emanated from his body. The black mist twisted and turned, and a shrill ghostly wail was heard. The gray-robed young man grabbed out with his claw. In the void, a black river appeared, and within it, there was a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. Bang! Gao Chang's fist and the gray-robed young man's claw collided. Suddenly, a terrifying force raged. Gao Chang's expression changed drastically. He stepped in the air and retreated continuously. The crowd was shocked. Gao Chang, a genius on the list of top 1,000 talents, was actually at a disadvantage after one move. How was this possible? Gao Chang seemed to be unable to bear this result. With a loud roar, a huge, fierce beast appeared above his head. The name of this fierce beast was unknown, but its whole body was covered with scales. It was filled with a fiendish qi and looked extremely ferocious.